Hello. Little early time today, huh? Dancing Spider. Same Dancing Spider from the other platform? Is that you? Good evening from Bavaria. It was funny. We were actually just looking at a there was those like dumb screen like saver things that Windows does and they show like a pretty picture or something. Anyways, there was this castle and Ari was like, guess what? Guess where this castle's from? And I was like, I bet it's from Germany. And I was right. It was from Bavaria. Apparently, it's the castle that like the Magic Kingdom castle was based on. See, you learn something new every day. Dancing Spider, good to have you over on this side. It's much better on this side, and if you really want to have any more fun experience, you could go to the other side of YouTube over there too. there's there's a there's a maybe a different platform side over there. Me too. Hey, I took away your mod stuff because I was trying to give mod instructions in the Discord, and anybody who wasn't part in there to get the instructions, I took the mod stuff away. So join my Discord because there's a mod space in there where I give mod instructions, and that way I can add you back up. I took it away from like 3 or 4 of you. It was nothing personal. It was nothing personal. Mr. Wheels, Olivia, Pretty, how you guys doing? Yeah, I need to be able to give my mods instructions on like what I want, muted or what I want down um and just how I want it ran and stuff like that. And so I just need to be able to talk to you guys directly. And so there's a whole mod space in my Discord. So that's all. Silver Speaks, I see you in there. I saw you try to join the Discord. I just need you to go in and select roles. I'm streaming early today, Bottle, because I don't actually stream on Fridays. Fridays is my day off from streaming. Uh, but I'm off of work today. I go back on Monday, so I just figured I would throw a stream in early since I got stuff to do tonight. Just cuz. That's all. Just cuz. And this will go as long or as short as people are interested and we're having a good time. So pretty easy stuff. But yeah, normally Friday is my day off. I will, however, be taking Monday off. Because as you guys know, I am a insanely diehard Chargers fan, and the Chargers play on Monday. So I will be off on Monday. I won't be here on Monday, but that's okay. You got a Friday instead to make up for it. I think that's fair. Hey, Kayla. Yeah, today's my. I've been off of work for 2 weeks. Not like I lost my job. Just like I had 2 weeks of PTO, So I took it all the last 2 weeks, and yeah. So I've just been 2 weeks off. I go back on Monday, so I get a chance to do this a little bit more. Chargers play the Eagles on Monday, so I don't know how we're gonna do, considering our quarterback literally broke his hand on Sunday, and he broke his hand on Sunday, and he's going to play on Monday, which seems like impossible, but sorry to hear that you lost your. I didn't lose my job. I just said I was on PTO. Should have used it over Christmas break. Why? Why? I'll still get you still get federal I still get like federal holidays and stuff off anyway for the most part. So it's not like I'm gonna be working on Christmas. Yeah, it's not his throwing hand. It was his non-throwing hand, and he had surgery on Monday. And Hampton should be back. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. How about them Cowboys? Those Cowboys choked like hell. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I did expect them to. I did expect them to put up a better fight than they did last night. Pickens is just. Pickens is just that dude's a freaking diva, bro. Breaking news: Eagles will win. You should win. I just said my quarterback had surgery 4 days ago. If you can't beat the Chargers when our quarterback had surgery on Monday, then what? Like you should quit your team. He's got one hand. Pretty sure he's in a cast right now. He's still gonna play on Monday. Yeah. if you don't quit, like stop playing football. Carolyn, he didn't change. He literally he literally like quit on like 8 routes. Just stopped playing football. He literally quit on like 8 routes. He just stopped playing football. Oh shoot, I didn't even want to. All right. Me too. I'm gonna give you your mod powers back right now, so you can get rid of this spammer because you're the only one in there. Just only get rid of like the spammers and like like the super racists and stuff like that, and then join the Discord so I can so you can get the previous instructions. All right, let's see who we've got here. I don't do a lot of TikTok guests, but I figure why not? Let's do a few today. I'm in a generous mood today. Why not? Hello?
What's up?
I don't know. What's up, man? You called here.
Yep. What are we complaining about today?
I don't know. Again, you came up here, so I don't know what you're complaining about.
Yeah.
You
Are
you
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 are
would
you
have to answer that question for me.
uh, are you America First?
Of course I am.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's why I can't stand Trump.
What has he done that's not America First?
I don't know, $40 billion to Argentina,
That's
making
good.
himself the head of a peace board in the Middle East, and putting in tariffs that raise the prices of consumers and U.S. businesses, putting small businesses at risk. Um,
But they
but
can't buy American made goods?
oh, no, you can't.
You do realize that America is the number two manufacturer of the world, yeah?
Hmm.
Okay. 11% of our GDP
Yep, that doesn't change what
manufactured.
I said at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can buy that's made in America.
Sure, there are lots of things that you can make that are that are made in, that you can buy that are made in America, but you can't buy all the things that we need that the consumers buy in this country in America.
Right.
Because you say we're the second largest producer, but what are we the number one in?
Agriculture, I believe.
Consuming. We are the number one consumer nation on the planet, right?
Sure.
So while we're number two in production, we're number one in consuming, and we don't make near the amount of things on the level of which we consume.
Yeah, I believe we consume 35% of all made goods in the world.
Yeah, something like that. So if we shut off or put large tariffs on, manufacturing from other nations, right, and therefore stopping or making it more difficult to get those products or raising the price on those products, then it is going to affect the United States market and the United States, GDP, because we don't have that ability to produce at that level.
So let me ask you a question. When you shop for something, is price the absolute factor that you decide on whether or not you're going to buy that product?
Depends on the product.
Okay. So when you look at import and exports and where something is made, why is that your only talking point when this is discussed?
Because the goods that he is shutting off are all of them, right? So
No.
if he was
No.
just shutting off, like say, like putting tariffs on cars, then okay, you can make a decent argument to say that that cars could be something that need to be tariff because again, when it comes to my cars, price is not the only option of things I look at. When I look at things like brooms, okay, I don't really care as much. All right, but since your voice is really recognizable, even before my chat started saying this, I know that this is hoodlum. Okay.
And
And
it's for the women.
are you literally that hard up? Like, have you literally exhausted every single other person on TikTok where you just have to make weird backup accounts in order to talk to somebody?
No, this isn't a weird backup account. I've
Oh,
had this one for a long
well,
time.
because you were literally on someone's live last night debating someone with your normal hoodlum account. And I know that
Yeah.
because every time I see you on anybody else's panel, I leave. So
Well, that
like so
sounds
I
like your
know
problem.
I know what you sound like. I've been doing this a long time, man. So I'm just like,
Mhm.
do you ever think like if you have to create weird backup accounts in order to talk to people that maybe you should just like, I don't know, quit doing this?
Well, it's because everyone on the left has become fragile and they report people. And so I have
You're
an
not
appeal.
reported. Again, you were on your account last night. I saw it.
I know. That's when it happened.
You're a liar.
I'm not. Why
You
would
just
I
knew I wouldn't
lie?
talk to you. But
Why
anyways,
would I lie?
because I just said why.
So, does that make you important that you recognize my voice?
No. It just
Okay.
means
So,
I'm not going to talk to you.
are you running away from the debate?
Yes. Goodbye.
Okay. So you can.
That was easy. Hoodlum's been around for a long time, y'all. Hoodlum's been around for a long time, and he has a very specific voice. He could make accounts all day, even before like everybody that I saw a bunch of people in my chat be like, "That's Hoodlum." Like, yeah, I know. Everybody, no one could mistake that voice. I literally was on. I don't even remember whose live I was on. Like, I was scrolling through lives, and I heard it in my headset when I was like, "Was it Adam's?" I don't know if it was Adam's. It was somebody's. I heard his voice. I wasn't even looking at the screen, and I was like, "That's Hoodlum. Why are they talking to Hoodlum?" And I just left. And I just left. His voice is very aggravating to the ear. Okay. his voice is very aggravating to the ear. Diva had it. Maybe it was Diva's. I don't know whose it was. It was somebody's, but I immediately recognized it. It's funny how how you can just pick it out real quick. I'm more than happy to have good faith arguments with right wingers that'll have good faith arguments. That's the reason why I don't talk to Hoodlum, because Hoodlum doesn't have the ability to have a good faith argument. Hoodlum has never had a good faith argument in his life. I'm pretty sure when he argues with himself, like his own mental, like I wouldn't be surprised if when he did that, like he had a bad faith argument with himself. He probably strawmans the arguments in his own head. Sorry. It's just the truth. Kayla, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. Kayla said, I'm on a road trip through New Mexico. Need your stream to get me through. Well, hopefully I can help provide that, Kayla. Can we get W's in the chat for Kayla? Just give her a little love as her through her road trip. Kayla's been here a long time and is my resident therapist. Not my actual therapist. She's my live therapist. Thank you so much, Kayla. Hello, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself? Nice to meet you.
I'm doing great. How old are you?
I am 38.
You're 38?
Yeah,
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
I do still support him.
Awesome. Why is that?
It may, well, I support him. Initially, I voted for him, which is still in alignment of why I continue to support him. Was to do with, he's more in alignment with the abortion, tough on immigration, which is what I like. He's laxed on guns. And yeah, that's off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think he's really any of those things, to be completely honest with you.
So you don't think he's tough on immigration?
No, I don't. I think he talks a lot of tough on immigration.
So then you don't think what he's done in regards to reducing border crossing wasn't really
Yeah, I
that
mean, he
much
reduced
compared to
border
that?
apprehensions and reduced, not border crossings, border encounters at legal ports of entry. That doesn't really fix our issue, though. That's
Well,
fixing an
that's a
issue.
different standard. I wasn't talking about whether he fixed it. I'm talking about whether he combated on it. He's going to reduce it. Maybe he will fix it
Well, he
eventually.
reduced
Maybe he
legal.
won't.
He reduced border encounters at ports of entry. The most of which were seeking legal asylum or some type of legal refugee status at the United States border. I'm not really concerned with those people. Why am I worried about people that are coming here trying to do things legally, being vetted and going through the process?
Well, that's a different statement. The original statement is that he reduced the amount of crossings. Whether you care or not, is irrelevant to why I was supporting him. It's him both for ICE, in which to get illegal aliens, which
Yeah.
has been increasing.
So let me
which
ask you
he's
this
doing.
question: Under what evidence are you showing that he slowed illegal border crossings?
Well, I don't memorize it. Let's go look it up because I did see it
Well, sir, I
previously.
again, when I understood that we have no data whatsoever to show that he's lowered illegal border crossings. We have data to show that he has, stopped, has a lower amount of apprehensions in between border entries, and there's a lower amount of encounters at legal ports of entry. Those are the two stats that we have. Okay, there is none for border crossings, just random border crossings. We won't see numbers of that for a couple more years at minimum. So that's why I'm saying I keep trying
Why
to
won't
sir,
we see
hold
that
on,
for
sir,
more years
sir,
that
sir,
the
sir,
border is
hold on,
monitored?
hold on. I'm almost there. What I was trying to do was say the numbers that we do have and trying to address those, but every time I tried to address those things, you made it sound like that I wasn't addressing any of those things. Donald Trump has bragged about his border crossings
That's
reduction.
incorrect.
Okay? His border encounters a reduction. That's what he's bragged about. He hasn't bragged about
No, I
border
was saying
crossings. We don't have that
incorrect what you
data.
said before.
So where can I
Might
find
be
this
gone.
data on border crossings? Hello?
Yeah, by crossing, maybe I was speaking too generally. It was more of, as you mentioned, interactions with those, like you said, apprehensions, right? So those who are attempting which to cross, they would be apprehensions, and then you would see how many would attempt and how many apprehensions, and the decrease as well as the funding in regards to the wall, and more border security, along with ICE activity in detaining illegal aliens within the country.
So we're not gonna switch the two up. We're not gonna talk about ICE and Customs and Border Patrol as if they're the same thing, all right? We are currently talking about border
No, I'm telling you why I
Hold on,
voted
sir.
for him,
Yeah,
which
but
is
we're,
apart-
but
those
we're
two
currently
things.
yeah, that's fine. We can switch over, but we are currently talking, all right. We were currently talking about border crossings, border encounters, right? And that's Customs and Border Protection. That has nothing to do with ICE, okay? One is stopping people from coming into the country. The other one is getting rid of people that are already in the country. So I don't want to confuse those two things, right? So what I know right now is
Sure.
that the amount of
That's fine.
people that is being encountered by Customs and Border Protection at the southern border is lower. I don't know whether that's a good thing or not. Okay. What I do know is that there's
I'm
less
sorry,
people.
say that last part. What's
I
lower?
don't know if
I'm
that's a
sorry,
good
say
thing
that.
or not. I don't know if the fact that
No,
we're apprehending less people in between border ports of
okay.
entry is a good thing. That totally could mean, all right, that there are more people that are not being apprehended, so therefore there are more people getting in. I don't know that answer. Do you know that answer?
So the so I'm looking at the DHS, which is the Homeland Security, and it's titled "Border Crossings are once again at a record low in November of 2025." This is released in December 4th, and then they go into November, October, lowest start to fiscal year, 7 straight months of zero releases.
Zero
Released
releases,
zero
which is
legally in the
not how many
United
people
States.
have, which is not a level of border crossings whatsoever. But I asked you a question. Can you address it?
They titled it "Border Crossings."
Yeah, sir. They can title it whatever they want. Okay, I don't read
You mean
titles
the
and then make
government?
assumptions based on the title.
You mean
I
the
asked you a question, sir.
CBP?
Sir, I asked you a question. We can pull up that article. I have no problem with that. I've already read it. Okay, it doesn't say what you think it's gonna say. Okay, and most of it is just Christy Nome just
It's encounters.
encounters. That's what I said before. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, sir, if we are
Well, that's what I mean.
sir,
I agree with you.
no, sir, what I'm asking you is if there are less people being apprehended in between ports of entry, does that mean that less people are coming over to be apprehended, or does that just mean that we're apprehending less people and more people are getting around them? Which one is it? And how do I know that answer? Because I don't know that answer. Do you know that answer?
I would think that the traffic which has been consistent. Well, I would agree with you that they could have gone to other locations, right? And so maybe perhaps in one location it's decreased, another location it's increased, right? So perhaps it fundamentally hasn't changed compared to when he wasn't president. But based on what the government is saying, that these encounters have been decreased, but I'm not sure I see it where it says exactly where they haven't been encountered. It just says they have encounters has been decreased in these time periods.
But let's be very
Now, I
clear.
guess if we can look at location. You
Sure.
could be right, maybe in that regard.
An encounter is Border Patrol doing their job. Okay? Just because there's an encounter is literally the Border Patrol doing their job. All right? I want more encounters. The more encounters that we have, that means the more people that Border Patrol is stopping. And the more people the Border Patrol is stopping means the less people are coming in. More encounters isn't a bad thing or a good thing. People have just made it sound like it's this thing, right? Like, encounters just means how many people were showed up and how many of those people were encountered by Border Protection, Customs and Border Protection, right? So saying, less people are showing up. Yeah, I assume less people are showing up. Why are less people showing up? Because people that are coming here legally, all right, are being sent to detention centers, are being sent to foreign countries they don't belong to, are being, thrown on the ground, are being, harassed by police and by non-police, because we have a problem right now with, because of Donald Trump's masked ICE agents and stuff like that, that they're being, that they were having false ICE officers going and, using vigilante justice, right? So yes, I probably agree that more people that were legally allowed to come here, right, are coming here less. So they're encountering the Border Patrol less. I don't think that's a good thing. I want people that are legally allowed to be here, right? When it comes to other people, right? People that, that are coming over here, not being vetted, that are sneaking around, those people could be, doing human trafficking. They could be doing drugs. They could be, bringing drugs. They could be doing all of those things. I don't want those people here. But those people don't seem to be the concern of, those people don't seem to be the concern of the Trump administration whatsoever. Their concern seems to be specifically on people that are seeking asylum, people that are seeking refugee status. Hell, right now, his concern seems to be Somalians that are U.S. citizens. So I don't see how these numbers tell me anything except for the fact
Fraud
that
cases. So Somalis, you're referring to the fraud case situation?
well, there is a fraud case situation. That is correct. But you do know that those fraud
You
case
mentioned
people were
Somalis.
th- th-
You
those
mentioned
people.
Somalis. So Somalis is in reference to the fraud case situation, right?
Donald Trump called Elon Omar. What's her first name? Whatever. Representative Omar. I forgot how to pronounce her first name. But anyways, he called her a garbage person and said pretty much Elon. I was right? Ilhan. There it is.
Ilmar. Oh, Ilhan, right.
Yeah,
Omar.
Ilhan Omar,
Ilhan
right?
Omar?
They
Yeah.
said she was a garbage person and that she pretty much needs to go back to where she came from. She's a U.S. citizen and a member of Congress.
Hey, I don't disagree that. Like Trump is not. I don't is my best buddy. I don't disagree that he says dumb stuff. But then again, I don't like her anyways to begin with.
I don't care if you like her or
So-
don't like. I don't like you. I don't think you should be deported if you're an American citizen.
Well, is he actively deporting her, or he just said something stupid?
Sir, it doesn't matter whether he's actively doing it or not. He is literally calling for the deportation, the denaturalization of Somali U.S. citizens in this country. You were just talking to me about how we don't want undocumented immigrants here. So is your problem with undocumented immigrants or documented immigrants or just immigrants in general that did everything the right way and became U.S. citizens? What's your? Are you just
That
hate
works
all
for me.
people that
If it-
came from other countries?
I love that. If someone comes here the right way and tries to become an American citizen, fantastic. Or if someone comes here illegally, but I remember there's a story where their child helped their parent become an American citizen, and it was like 10 years. If they came here illegally, but then they try to become an American citizen, hey, I think that's also fantastic. If they're trying to come here the right way and to become an American citizen, I also think that's fantastic. But if they're coming here illegally and they're not appropriately acclimating, they're not trying to become an American citizen, they're not even trying to learn the English language. I know people who've been in this country for 30 years and they don't speak English language. They don't speak English at all.
I don't care
I think
about
that's zero attempt in which to acclimate. And so I'm
don't
saying
care. I don't-
those
I couldn't
people
care.
should be deported.
I couldn't care
That-
two
that's-
shits
what you
about
care-
somebody
what you
learning
care is
English or
irrelevant.
not. Okay, that is.
Oh, that's irrelevant. So I'm telling you why I supported him, and I'm saying those people should be deported, which is what Trump does.
No, Trump does not do that. Trump arrests people at their immigration hearings who are trying to do things the right way and deports them. Donald Trump uses the IRS.
They're illegal.
Huh?
They're illegal.
Sir, you just said you don't care as long as they're doing things the right way and trying to gain their citizenship.
I didn't say I don't care.
Oh.
I said if they do the things. I said if they do things the right way, I think that's great.
That
and
is
then
the
they
right
should.
way.
But if they
Do
do
the
it
court
illegally
system-
and they get caught
Sir.
during the process,
Sir, the court
if they're in here
system
illegally and they
is
get
the
caught,
legal
I'm
way.
clarifying.
Sir,
I'm clarifying.
The
If-
legal
I'm
way
clarifying.
is-
If they're in here illegally and they're still making the attempt, then I also said that okay, that's fine. They got caught. They got caught. They shouldn't have been here illegally. They should have went through the proper channels. But since they came to the country illegally and they're making an attempt to become an American, but if they get caught, then they get caught. They should be deported.
What about the hundreds of thousands of people that did come here legally from Venezuela and Honduras that Donald Trump overturned their citizenship or overturned their legal status here and deported them anyway? What about, again, these Somali people, the Somalians specifically in Minnesota, who are literally U.S. citizens, and he's calling for their denaturalization?
In regards to denaturalization, I'm not too sure about that. I think I could be I would have to look into. I think I could be convinced of someone being denaturalized in a country, but it depends on what actions they commit. So I'm not too sure about that one.
Oh, gotcha.
I could
And
probably
what
do this
actions
as
do you
well.
think a U.S. citizen should be could commit that that should make them no longer a
Terrorism.
U.S. citizen? Oh, so not fraud.
Terrorism.
So not fraud.
Well, if the fraud leads to financing terrorism
It
that
doesn't.
attacks the United States, then yes.
But it doesn't. And he's still calling for their denaturalization.
Because, huh? Well, you asked me a question. I'm answering. In
And
regards
I'm
to that
responding
case, I
to
don't
what
know.
you
I don't know.
said.
I
That
don't know.
case had no
And I'm
links to
telling you, I don't know
terrorism
the
whatsoever.
specifics.
And I'm telling you them. I'm
I'm
telling you the specifics. There was literally
so you're
zero
telling me.
evidence or zero evidence in any of the court documents or any word from any of the federal prosecutors that are prosecuting this case to say that there is any link between any of the fraud that these people were doing and any type of terrorist group or terrorist organization.
Okay. So then, if that's the case, then that would meet my requirements, so to speak.
Gotcha.
So then I
What
would
I'm
disagree. I would disagree with Trump in that regard.
Okay, what I'm saying is Donald Trump, okay, if he was super concerned, all right, about people not coming here the legal way, all right, then his
Mhm.
focus wouldn't be on stopping asylees coming through ports of entry. His focus would be on catching people that are sneaking things around and like doing things like trying to smuggle drugs. But his concentration is not on that, right? He's invited El Chapo's family over the United States. He just, pardoned the ex-Honduran president who was convicted of
You say
bringing
he's not stopping drugs?
no. He literally pardoned the ex-Honduran president that was literally convicted of bringing 500 tons of cocaine into the United States. Pardoned him point blank.
So that means. So that means. So because he may have pardoned certain people, therefore the drugs are increasing in the United States coming in.
I didn't say that they were increasing or decreasing. I say Donald Trump doesn't care about about people bringing drugs in. Because someone that
based
cared
upon
about
the
bringing
data
in
you looked at in
drugs.
regards to, and based upon the data you looked at in regards to drug smuggling.
Again, sir, drug smuggling in the United States primarily comes from U.S. citizens.
Okay. What does that have to do with my statement?
I don't know what your statement is.
You made a case that Trump didn't care about drugs coming into the country. I wasn't talking about whether they were American or not. We're talking about drugs coming into the country. You brought up that they're American. That's irrelevant.
I didn't say
You
Donald.
say he doesn't care about the drugs, huh?
He doesn't care about people bringing in drugs in the country.
Yeah, I know you said that. I'm repeating what you said, and then
Huh?
I responded with, how do you know that based upon the data that you have that says that drugs has been increasing or decreasing or the same? And then you said because he pardoned some people.
You can care about drugs coming into the country and drugs increase coming into the country. You cannot
Well, the burden
care,
of proof
sir.
is on you. You
Sir,
made a claim, so
yeah,
you have to
yeah,
provide
yeah.
it.
But you're misrepresenting my claim, which I'm trying to correct right now.
Well,
A
you made a
president,
claim.
a president can
It has to be based on
care,
data.
sir. A president can care about drugs coming into the country and drugs still increase coming into the country. A president, however, can also not care about drugs coming into the country and drugs decrease coming into the country because a president's care about it doesn't affect one of those things or the other. What I'm saying is someone that cared wouldn't be literally pardoning drug dealers and making friends with the family of El Chapo.
I don't know the specifics, but I probably would agree with you that those people shouldn't be pardoned. But then I also think there's also practical applications in regards to the power that certain evil people have, that you can use them for the benefit of reducing certain things. Just as the United States has worked with many abhorrent individuals in different countries or mobsters to help them reach end goal. So I'd say it depends.
Yeah, but this didn't have anything to do with this. Donald Trump literally pardoned him, and his exact reason was because it was a Biden witch hunt. And the reason why he pardoned him is because this Honduran president sent him a letter that said, "I'm just like you. I was a victim of political persecution under the Biden administration, and so you should pardon me because I'm just like you." And then he did it. That's all.
So then that shows. So then, has he done something in regards to the reduction or the increase, or just nothing at all in drugs coming into the United States? Have you looked at that?
I have looked at that. We don't have data on the complete increase or decrease right now.
So you don't have data on. There's no data in regards to fentanyl apprehensions or the amount that comes in.
Sure, there's data
or
on
in
fentanyl
regards to
apprehensions.
boats traveling in the United States, or the usage of it, or the fentanyl increasing in regards to individuals perhaps getting it.
Fentanyl has
or
not decreased
dying.
in the United States. The level of apprehensions, I believe, are about even, maybe a little bit lower. But the level of fentanyl in the United States has not decreased. The level of fucking cocaine in this country has not decreased. The level of deaths based off those drugs has not decreased in any way in the slightest. I believe they're up.
Where do I go for that? What sources are you using?
I believe the CDC has good data on that.
Okay. Hey, listen, I'm willing to, if it's increased or if Trump hasn't done much in regards to actions in regards to the drug trade, then I probably will be on your camp in that regard. That it seems like he's not doing what he says he should, or other aspects in that regard.
Yeah, again, sir, what the entire point of this argument is that Donald Trump did not fix the border situation. He did not fix our immigration problem. He didn't even come close, to be completely honest with you. He hasn't even really
What does
touched
fixing
it.
mean?
What does fixing it mean? It means that we need a new
Because
law.
I didn't vote and say I said I voted for him because he's going to be tough on immigration. As to whether you fix it or not is
Well, what
up
do
in
you
the
consider
air.
tough on
What you're
immigration
saying-
then, sir?
so when you
Because
say
you can be tough and we still have more undocumented immigrants coming in. We have people that are terrorists coming in. We can have more drugs coming in. We can have all of those things and still be tough on immigration. Because if I don't know what tough
Yeah,
means,
and you can ban schmurder, and schmurder could increase.
Exactly.
It's more about
So
the
what is tough?
It's more about the implementation of the actions, financing the appropriate governmental systems to give them more resources, more manpower, more technology in regards to the border wall, reduced incentives and things of that nature.
Yeah,
more
all of-
apprehensions in
all-
regards to ICE.
yeah,
those
all of
things
those
is what I'm
things,
talking about in tough.
all of those things were in the Langford bill that the Biden administration tried to pass, and Donald Trump called Congress and told him to stop it. So if Donald Trump really cared about fixing immigration,
pages was in that bill?
sir, I'm still in the middle of a sentence. Thank you.
How many pages?
I'm still in the middle of a sentence. Thank you. If Donald Trump really gave a shit about fixing all of those things that you just talked about, because literally that bill would have given money for the wall, it would have increased border patrol, would have given them more equipment, more technology, would have increased their budget significantly, would have gotten asylum seekers out of the country faster, by having their court cases get the time between court cases actually get reduced, more judges, more clerks. It would have done all the things that you just mentioned, literally. Okay. And Donald Trump called Congress and told them to stop it because for a fact, because he knew he couldn't run against Biden on immigration if Biden fixed immigration, right? So if Donald Trump really cared about all those things you were talking about, we could have had this thing fixed in 2023.
There was always laws that was enacted that would reduce the immigration before the bill was even implemented. Do you know how many pages was in the bill?
Why does how many pages?
Because
are in the bill?
many bills get rejected, and then they go through a process of negotiations, and then they'll pass it. So it depends, because you can have something that might be wonderful in the bill, but then you have something that they can wholeheartedly disagree with, so they reject it, and then so they can try to negotiate to put the wonderful thing in, and then remove.
But that's not what happened
the
here.
horrible
This had a 98% approval rating in the Senate, and Donald Trump called Congress and told them not to pass it so that he could run on immigration against Biden. This had nothing to do with any of the words you just said.
So your argument is that he rejected the bill because he wouldn't. What year was the bill being implemented? Or trying to pass?
2023, into 2023, early 2024.
And you're saying that Biden wouldn't be able to deal with the border because that bill.
I said that all the things that you wanted fixed for the border would have been fixed in that bill if Donald Trump hadn't called and stopped it.
So what was the previous law before that bill was trying to be implemented? That stops that
Title 8,
doesn't
the
help
same
the
policy that we're
government
under right
from-
now.
from passing. What was the bills before that bill was passed that doesn't
That
allow
bill wasn't
Joe
passed.
Biden in which to be tough on immigration?
That bill was the bill that would have been passed. That was Biden being tough
Let
on
me say it
immigration.
again. What was the laws before the bill?
Title 8,
trying
I
to be
already said
passed?
that.
What was the laws before the bill that is not causing Biden in which to be aggressive?
Sir,
in
sir,
regards to
sir,
immigration
you
and
keep using these
Because you're
arbitrary,
saying that
sir,
bill is
sir,
going to be
sir,
the fix.
sir, you
You're
keep
saying the
giving,
bill
sir,
is going to be the
sir,
fix.
you keep giving all of these arbitrary terms as aggressive, tough. And then when I brought it down to you, okay, and I was like, what do you mean by tough? You said funding and supporting the organizations, okay, that can enforce the laws on these things, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, this bill would have funded and sourced all the things that you said, okay? Because the president doesn't have the ability to fund anything on his own. Who has the power of the purse in
But
the
that's
United States?
but that's not what I'm asking. Right
Sir, it is exactly what you're asking. Okay, you're
now. No,
asking me.
I'm telling you what I'm asking
no,
because
no, no.
it's my brain and I know what I'm saying.
Okay, well,
So
I have
what
asked you
I'm
to repeat it
asking-
3 times, and I don't think a
No, you
fourth
didn't ask
time
me
is
to
going to
repeat
help.
anything.
Yes, I
You
did.
didn't ask me to repeat anything.
Well, then
No,
your
you didn't. You
brain's
didn't say
not
the word
doing
repeat
very
at all.
well right now.
You didn't say the word repeat at all, so I'm going to repeat it for you.
Okay,
What
go
I
ahead.
asked was, I understand that the bill didn't pass in regards to Joe Biden in 2023. What I'm saying is that you're saying that that bill would have, you said, fixed the issue. And so what I'm saying is, before that bill in 2023, what was the laws that existed then before the bill?
Already
that
answered this
somehow
question
were
3
stopping
times.
Joe Biden.
Answered this
from
question 3 times.
doing the
Already
actions
answered
necessary.
this question 3 times.
Oh, what was the laws? I'm sorry.
3 times I've answered this question.
Okay, so just what was the laws? I'm sorry.
Title
say it.
8.
Title 8. And what is that?
Title 8 is the immigration laws that govern this country.
Okay, but what's in it? Title 8, you're just saying a title, but what's in the laws? That's as a result. What's the difference between what is in Title 8 specifically that you're mentioning to what would the bill as a result change that somehow Joe
Again,
Biden couldn't
already
do
answered
before the
this
bill?
question, sir. The bill would have increased fundings for Customs and Border Protection. Why am I repeating myself? I just said all the
No,
things
but you
that the
haven't.
bill would do.
But you haven't mentioned
already
what was
said
in
them
Title
all.
8. You haven't mentioned what was in Title 8.
What do you mean? We're
That
we're
somehow
still
is
in
making it
Title
difficult.
8.
Well, what does that have to do with what I asked? I said
I
you
don't
haven't
know what
mentioned
you're
Title 8.
asking.
I
I've already
said-
said that
you said-
multiple times.
I asked you
You're
what
not
was the
asking
laws.
a question. The
I asked
laws
you
was
what was in the
Title
law.
8.
I asked you what was the law, and you said Title 8, and now I'm asking what is in Title 8 specifically.
You want me to go through our entire immigration law? Is that what you're asking? Are you asking me
you
to
can
bring
just
up,
go-
sir? Are you asking me to bring up every single page and every single
Did I
word,
say every single page?
section? Then I don't know what you're asking because you keep just asking me what's in Title 8, and Title 8 is the.
Well, you're saying
sir,
Title 8 is
sir,
deficient.
Sir,
You're saying the Title 8.
sir,
You asked me a question.
sir. Title 8 is our immigration law. It's all of it. And you just keep asking what's in Title 8. Okay? What's in Title 8 is our immigration laws. If you want something more specific, okay, you're going to have to be more specific because there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of laws inside of Title 8. So if you want a better answer, you're going to have to ask a better question.
Better question then. Okay, so Title 8 is insufficient in which to reducing the RSA fixing the immigration in regards to the border, right? Thus, trying to implement the bill.
Sure, I guess close enough.
So then, what I'm asking then is, you're saying then the new bill would have increased funding, created more judges in regards to dealing with more immigration judges, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so, what I was asking was in regards to, so Joe Biden couldn't fix. Because I don't think he was even doing a good job to begin with within Section 8. So Section 8 isn't, because we have more, the border crossing is, from what the DHS is stating, is in a better circumstance, even when we're under Title 8 during Trump's presidency as compared to Joe Biden's presidency under the same Title 8.
course
So
it was.
why is one better than another if it's under the same title?
No,
How
it
did
was
how
still
did
bad
the
under
circumstances
Trump.
improve?
It was bad under Trump's term. That's why he went on TV and begged Congress to pass new immigration policy, which they wouldn't do. Okay. Because at certain points he had like
So
10,000.
first time?
This is his first term. Okay. That's why he had it multiple times, months and months of upwards of 10,000 border encounters a day. Okay, because he understood that Title 8 was not sufficient to deal with our current immigration in the United States, even in his first term. Then COVID happened, destabilized the Northern Triangle and Northern South America, had a large influx of migrants coming to the border at that point, and then we didn't have the correct support with border protection in order to handle that situation. All right, Joe Biden tried to fix that by giving us more border protection, by giving us more border patrol, by giving them better technology in order to combat that. Donald Trump stopped us from being able to do that. And even with that, Joe Biden still, by the time he left office, had a lower level of border crossings monthly than the average under the first 2 years of the Trump administration. By the time he left
of the Trump
office.
administration, or the second term?
First term.
I'm going into the second term.
I am into second term.
So you're saying the second term, Biden was lower than Trump in the second term?
What?
You're saying Biden was doing better in regards to the border crossings, you said, or border encounters, comparisons of Trump in the second term?
You said, why couldn't Biden make things with the border better in his first?
Repeating what I'm asking. What you said. I'm asking a question, a clarifying
Dude,
question.
You're having a rough time keeping up with this conversation, man. Are you sure you're good? I'm doing a lot of repeating myself.
Because you mentioned the first term.
I'm doing a lot of repeating myself, bro.
You're asking the first term, but I'm talking about the second term, which is the present day. I'm saying, are you comparing Joe Biden?
Do we have more border
Trump
protection now?
term?
Do we have more money for border protection right now? Do we have an increased budget for border protection? Do we have more border agents in order to cover the ports of entry? Do we have any of that stuff right now?
Well, you still haven't answered my question.
It's a yes or no question.
You haven't answered my question.
I'm not answering your question because I don't understand your question. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question so I can
question,
Sir, I'm trying to simplify this down for you because every time I start talking about stuff, it feels like you don't understand, and you're either having a comprehension problem or a listening problem. I'm not sure which one. So I'm going to try to bring this thing down as low as I can. Okay, so that you can stick with me.
You compared Trump to Biden. So I'm asking that comparison. Are you referring to Biden and Trump in the second term?
Sir, I'm talking about Biden in his term versus Trump in his first term, because you were asking me what was different between Title 8 under Trump and Title 8 under Biden. Okay, that changed within the enforcement.
You said there was Title 8 is now, right?
See, I'm not still talking, right? See, this is why you're having a hard time comprehending.
You said Title 8 is now,
because
right?
every single time I try to explain something to you, you start talking.
So Title 8 not now?
You would totally understand if you would just let me finish. Or maybe you'd
I
understand. I don't know.
I know what you're going to say. You said Title 8 in the first term and then Title 8 in Biden, and you're comparing the difference between the two. But then you said, is Title 8 being implemented right now in present day for the second term?
Some things of Title 8 are. Some things are being like illegally, completely ignored.
So then what's the so then are you comparing? You're only comparing between Trump first term and second, and then Biden, but not Biden and Trump second.
Okay,
term.
what's the difference between Biden at the end of his term and Trump right now as far as policy?
Well, I'm just asking.
I'm asking you a question.
You were just
sir.
only referring to Trump first term?
I'm asking you a question now. What is different?
No, I'm just getting clarifying before we move on.
We are clarifying
It's a
right
clarifying
now.
question.
We are. This is a clarifying question. What is different in policy in between what Donald Trump is doing right now, okay, and at the end of Biden's term? What's the difference?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
No, I'm good. You have a good one, okay? I'm not doing this anymore. Nope, I'm good. Y'all, please make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Guys, there's in that YouTube, there's like almost 400 people. In that one, there's like 150. I expect it to be low because I'm not supposed to be on today. And I don't go live on, I don't go on Fridays, and I sure as hell don't go this early. So make sure you're coming in, saying something in the chat, making sure YouTube and TikTok know that you guys are there. I really appreciate that. If you guys like support, I do have super chats and all that fun stuff, memberships, and all my pay links are in my bio. Mora, I thank you so much for the Venmo. I really, really appreciate that. We're saying they will never understand why Americans think it's a flex to say they don't want people to speak another language. Coming from Panama, we believe the more languages you know, the more educated you are. 100%. 100%. Again, as I've said before, I lived in Europe for a couple years, and knowing multiple languages is very common. It's very, very common. So yeah, I don't know why we speak English. This is America, and in America, we speak American. They took our jobs. That's the same thing. That's the same thing I hear. I don't want to press 2 or press 1 for English. It's like, bro, calm down. All right, we're gonna open up the phone line, see if we get a caller in here. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here today. And we're gonna have a nice relaxed live and just kind of hang out for a bit. Is that cool? Just gonna have a nice relaxed live and hang out. Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
I do.
Awesome. Why is that?
That is, let me just a minute, because I think number one would have to be, according to the CDC, in the first 11 months of his presidency, there's been a 24% decline in drug overdose deaths compared to the previous 12-month record. And fentanyl deaths have gone down 76,000 from 2023 and 24. Overdose deaths have also gone down by 76,000, and that's all I want to say.
Well, nothing of what you said was true, which is, I assume, why you hung up without actually addressing any of that, because you knew that any even tiny bit of scrutiny to what you said knows that fucking that's not true. You always know that they don't have much to freaking say when they immediately just hang up the phone because they know that, addressing any part of their conversation would be a complete lie. That's funny though. I'm gonna start doing that on other lives. I'm gonna start going into lives and just being like, the CDC reports that fentanyl overdoses are up 8,000% under Trump, and then I'm just gonna leave. Then I'm just gonna leave. Yeah, let's just make shit up. Why not? Let's just make shit up. Hello, how are you?
Okay, yeah, I'll be there in a minute.
What's your thoughts on no carb monster versus 0 calorie monster?
Are you okay, man?
Is this John?
Did your handler let you go too long? Oh. I think his handler must have let him like run away too much or something. It's confusing. He didn't sound like he was doing great over there. Poor guy. Hello, how are you? All right, goodbye. I shouldn't have put that up there. I shouldn't have put up there. Stupid. Anyways. 0 calorie IQ. That's great. Yeah, exactly. Like you can act like if you're on like the on TikTok or something like that, you can accidentally request up and that you can't accidentally call my phone number. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't happen. Vicky, thank you so much for the makeup brush. I really appreciate that. Hello, how are you?
Hello, this is me again.
Who are you?
Hello, how are you?
I said, who are you?
I am, I'll say my name, I'm Sawyer.
No, you made it sound like I know who you are. You said it's like me again. I don't know who you are.
No, you don't. Sorry about the sound, just a minute. But anyway, what are you asking me? Sorry.
Why do you support Trump?
There's a lot of reasons.
Well, would you care to say one?
I'll say, let's think. There's a few reasons. I would say probably number one would have to be border crossings. Definitely. Illegal border crossings. Can't say as though it's as tough as I'd like it to be. But I also, illegal border crossings have gone down exponentially under his term.
And why?
Previously under the Biden administration, which was 2021 to 2025, we had the highest amount, and this is backed up by data, of illegal border crossings.
Yeah.
And
How do you know border
Trump
crossings are
said-
down? Sir, I already had this conversation with the last guy. Can you please show me one piece of data that says border crossings are down?
Yes, I can.
Where's that at?
There's actually multiple.
I just need one.
Go to. You probably don't trust border. What I don't know call the border. What they put out because of course the President Trump.
Because
said,
who?
So you won't believe them. If I give you data from the border
Sure, give it to me.
people, you probably won't believe that. Because
Sure,
it's by
give it to
Trump,
me.
So let me see just a minute. Just a minute. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be slow. I'm kind of a.
I'll let you know
I'm
right
working
now,
as
if you're
I'm-
talking about the data from the Customs and Border Protection, their data only talks about border encounters and border apprehensions, but not border crossings.
No.
I've looked into it extensively. So
Okay. Yeah. You can say that.
if you want to
internal
show me where it
government
says
fix-
border crossings, I'll be more than happy to take a look at that. But it doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, it does.
It does
let me
not.
see.
It talks about border apprehensions and border encounters. I already had this
No.
exact conversation with the last guy. He looked it up
know
on
what?
the
You wanna-
screen. He looked it
you
up
wanna know
during the
something?
live.
You want to know something?
So
Right here. Let me see. Well, there's a total amount of you said that it isn't you can't find any information on border crossings. You're saying.
you just told me that Customs and Border Protection talked about lowering of border crossings. Customs and Border Protection talks about the lowering of border encounters and the lowering of border apprehensions. Those things are true. As far as border crossings, that is not something that they have data on Customs and Border Protection. I'm telling you that. Now, if you have data from someplace else, that's fine. Or if you can show me where I'm wrong on that, that's fine.
Okay. Let me.
But but I'm not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I am getting this. Just not. I mean, like probably 200 feet from my Wi-Fi meter, and so give me 20 seconds. It's not. The CBP reported an 81,000 encounters nationwide.
Encounters. Encounters. Encounters.
with-
That's what I
with-
said. Encounters.
Yes, that's correct. But that's a 66% drop. No matter what you say, no matter what you argue, that's better. Even if it's not at the border crossing.
Sir,
It's encounter.
listen to me, okay? If you want to talk about border encounters, again, I just had this conversation. Did you just tune in?
I did 30 minutes ago.
Okay, because we just did all of this. We literally just did this entire conversation. Okay? A border encounter is what? What is a border encounter?
When they see them coming to the border, literally.
Correct. Okay. So if there's less people that are being encountered by the Border Patrol, does that mean that less people are showing up? Or does it mean that less people the Border Patrol is actually seeing? Is it a possibility?
Well-
Is it a possibility that the reason that less are encountered because more are finding another way in?
It would seem to me that data right there would be evidence of they're meeting them at the border.
No. Is it? I asked you a question, sir. If there are less people being encountered by Border Patrol, is it also a possibility that just less people are being seen by Border Patrol and therefore they're finding a new route, going around, going through different ports of entry, going through tunnels, going through whatever situation in which Border Patrol is not counting them? Isn't it possible that the exact same amount of people are showing up to the border, but Border Patrol is catching less of them? Is that or is that not possible?
That's possible.
Okay, cool. So therefore, your data, the data on
But-
encounters doesn't mean really anything except for the fact that people that are more likely to be coming here legally are not showing up. Because again, a large amount of the people that are coming into the Biden administration that were on these border encounters were seeking asylum, which is a legal form of immigration into the United States, right? Now, Donald Trump has essentially shut down asylum at the southern border. So less people are coming in and encountering the Border Patrol who are trying to do it legally. What you are arguing to me is that less people are trying to come into the United States legally, and I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing.
Okay. What about this? There has been 238,000 apprehensions along the U.S.-Mexico border in the year 2025 alone, which is the lowest, the best since the 1970s. That's 50 years, and that's apprehension.
Hold on. That's the lowest?
Okay.
So the
to
less
US
people that
2025
were stopping coming through ports of entry, in between ports of entry. And you're telling me that's better. You're trying to convince me that the Border Patrol apprehending less people in between ports of entry is a good thing. I would think that I would want them apprehending more people in between ports of entry, because that's how I know they're stopping more people.
More people. There's been 238,000 apprehensions along the U.S.-Mexico border in the fiscal year 2025 alone, which is, of course, probably January to now.
Wasn't there like 400,000 last year under the Biden administration?
I don't know. I do know this, and I can't bet my life on this, but I think I could be wrong, that there were more. I've read this. I'm not going to bet my life on it, but I do think that under the Biden administration, there were more illegal border crossings in U.S. history. And this isn't just me saying this or Trump speeches. This is data.
Of course there was. There was more border encounters. More people showed up at the border and were encountered by Border Patrol. I mean
illegal crossings is what I mean.
Sir. You keep just saying, you keep trying to throw in illegal border crossings. Like we're right there on border encounters where we're actually talking about data. Okay. And I'm trying to go down that road of actual data with you. And then you keep throwing in this hyperbolic fucking border crossings bullshit. Okay. Which completely derails the entire conversation. Okay. There were a record number of border encounters at the southern border under the Biden administration. Yes, there were. Okay. The majority of which, a high level of which, an overwhelming majority of which were attempting to seek asylum. Okay. Therefore, they were illegally crossing the border, in parentheses, to walk directly up to a Border Patrol agent to ask for legal asylum in the United States. Okay.
Well,
why, sir, why would I be mad about people showing up at the border, going up to a Border Patrol agent and asking to get in legally? Just because it's an illegal crossing. Why do you think that would upset me? Why should that scare me?
Well, I mean, I can't walk out of, if I'm serving a prison term, I can't legally walk just outside the prison to, I mean, it should be, you cannot come in unless you shouldn't be able to touch U.S. unless it's legal.
I'll give you
my take.
Then you just don't like the law.
I don't like the law. Okay.
Yeah, because our asylum law says that do you have a problem with people seeking asylum in this country?
I think it's awesome. I want more people than anything.
Well,
I wish the U.S. had as much population as China.
Okay. Well, 8 U.S. Code 1158, which is the law in our country that grants asylum, says that in order to seek asylum in this country, you have to have both feet on American soil. So in order to seek asylum in this country, you have to do what you would consider an illegal border crossing. Okay? There's no way to seek asylum outside of it. I mean, you want me to pull up the law? I can read it to you. Sure. Not a problem. Haven't done this in a while. 8 U.S. Code 1158. Okay? Asylum law. And I'll put it up on the screen so everybody can read it with me so nobody thinks I'm like BSing over here or anything like that, okay?
Okay.
Any alien who is physically present in the United States or who arrives in the United States, whether or not at a designated port of arrival, and including an alien who was brought to the United States after having been interdicted in international or United States water, irrespective of an alien status, may apply for asylum in accordance with this section, where applicable, section 1225B of this title. So in order to seek asylum, you must be physically present in the United States, which means that every single asylum seeker in this country, okay, that has ever existed, okay, who is here legally under TPS, all right, had to do an illegal border crossing in order to do it. That's why Biden's numbers were so high.
So you're saying that say your thing's all, whatever, okay. And you did give right evidence, I believe, so whatever. But you just believe that those 7 million people that illegally crossed the border, historic numbers, okay, I won't say illegal, I'll just say cross the border, historic number, I think it was 7.2 million under the Biden administration, which is ridiculous. You think every single one of those, none of them, you think they should all have been like they were, and they shouldn't have been handled any differently?
Well, it
And
definitely
you don't
wasn't
believe-
7.2 million. No, I do not
It was
believe
too.
that. Nor do I believe that it was actually that it was all done correctly. Do I think the Biden administration made mistakes? 100% I do. I think that they had a lot of issues what they did at the border. Okay, but we also saw
Okay.
a record number
That's
of
fair.
repatriations at the southern border. You know that, right? Or sorry,
Yeah.
what you would call a deportation if you're not familiar with that terminology. Okay, there was 685,000 deportations at the southern border just in 2024. The Trump administration isn't even going to get near that, right? Not even going to get in the ballpark of that, right? But nobody talks about those huge numbers of repatriations because they're all hung up on this crazy number of just border encounters for some reason.
Sure. Yeah. So you're not like against deportations totally.
Of course not.
Okay.
Why would I? Nobody in their right mind is against deportations completely, including myself, including anybody I know on the left, and including Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden deported more people in his term than Donald Trump did, and Obama deported more than both of them combined.
Well, that's true. Obama had 8 years, and Biden and Trump together have only had 6.
No, they had 8.
Well,
9 now.
8, the two of them. Yeah. Well, I guess if you add this year, it's 9 years. Sorry.
But this whole idea that for some reason the left is like against deportations is a joke. It's a complete joke. The left is not against deportations. Okay? The left is is against locking people out of the country that desperately are in fear of their lives or desperately need help. The left is against burying fucking razor wire in the Rio Grande to help try to trap and drown women and children trying to cross the border. The left is against separation of families, zip tying children out in the cold, or pepperballing priests, and making ICE the largest military or 5th or 6th largest military in the world, like larger than the IDF. Okay, yeah, we're against that. Because that's all bad stuff. Okay, Donald Trump said that he was going to come in and target criminals, right? And if Donald Trump came in and targeted criminals, used ICE to target criminals, then not only would I think that the left would have no problem with it, I would fight against anybody, anybody, period, that said a single word against that. I think that we should be using ICE to go after criminals. Okay, I think that's a really good thing. But less than 20%, and those are conservative numbers, right? Most numbers I'm seeing around like 12 to 13%. Okay, but under 20% of the people that Donald Trump is going after have any criminal record whatsoever. Okay, at all. Period. All right. Stephen Miller specifically ordered ICE in a meeting to stop going after criminals, stop using their resources to target criminals, and start going to Cardenas markets and 7-Elevens. Okay, that's where I have the issue. He's using things like the immigration courts as a way to deport people, right? He's using people that are trying to do things legally and using that as an avenue in which to target people. Right? He's using the IRS. He's using people that are here working, paying taxes, and minding their own business, helping to boost our economy, boost our job market, boost our GDP. He's going after people like that instead of going after the people that are actually freaking committing crimes, freaking, smuggling drugs or smuggling people or are part of cartels. He's not using those resources to go after those. He's going against, Jim, or I guess Juan, that works down at like your local grocery store, that like washes dishes at your local Chili's, dude. Like it's a matter of who we're targeting and why. And let's also not forget that, right? When he targets, whoever, that immigrant that's working down, at that as a dishwasher in Chili's or as a busser at at your local Applebee's, when their jobs go away, guess what? The jobs of American citizens go away. Right? It's not helping anything. So no, I'm not against deportations. I'm not against, about enforcement or strong borders. I'm not against any of that stuff. I am against inhumane treatment of other human beings, though, and I am against things that hurt, that hurt America as far as the economy, that hurt America, morally or economically or any of these things. Those are the things I'm against, and those are the things Donald Trump is doing.
Yep. I think. I mean, I will say is I do. I think that. I think we'll have to agree to disagree on this. So I believe that Biden's handling of the border was absolutely horrible, and I'm not. I have mixed feelings on ICE. I think that I have seen videos and I've seen footage that I do not like.
Sure.
And so I'm
Again,
going to stay kind
But
of.
I already agreed with you that Biden didn't handle the border well. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? We're not agreeing to disagree here.
No, I'm saying I'm agreeing that I believe Trump's policy for the border has been better. You don't think that?
No, I think it's
But
I think
I
it's
will say this.
unequivocally worse. Right?
I do. Will say I really I like this conversation because I love debating and I truly love. I'm not a person that just wants to only give my opinion. Trust me, I like hearing other people's opinion. I like hearing what people, and also you've really given strong evidence for what you say. It's not that I agree with it per se, but I like that you don't just rattle off stuff and like some people do, and I appreciate that.
All right, yeah, no problem. Dude, I'm not saying that Biden did a great job. Biden did try to implement policy that would have helped a lot. And Biden did do a good job, even through executive action, of shoring up the border at the end. Now, do I think he could have done more? Yes. Do I think he could have done it earlier? Yes. 100%. Okay. But that doesn't excuse what Trump is doing. And not to mention the fact that Biden wasn't running against Trump. You had the choice between...
No, he was not.
Yeah, you had the choice between Kamala Harris, okay, a fresh start, somebody younger, okay. You had the choice between that and Donald Trump, who threatened to have the largest deportation action since the Mexican Repatriation Act, which saw over 1 million U.S. citizens deported. Right? You have Donald Trump right now, who's literally retweeting and has people like Kristi Noem talking about remigration, which is like European ethnic cleansing. Right? They're literally the Trump's government is literally talking about ethnic cleansing right now, currently. Talking about denaturalizing American citizens. I'm sorry, sir. You can dislike Biden and what he dislike Biden for what he did, okay? And I'm not going to argue with that, okay? But no matter how many migrants come in this country, it is still better than ethnic cleansing and denaturalizing American citizens.
Oh yeah, if I'll have to look into that. But ethnic cleansing is literally, I mean, that's 1930s Nazi Germany, literally.
Yeah, that was what the Nazis used was the form of remigration. That's what Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem are talking about right now.
I think the number one reason, probably, I'm trying to think what would be number one. The reason I still support Trump would have to be that's one of the. I think that number one would have to be probably. Let me think. There's that. There's also. I think crime has gone down under the Trump administration.
Crime has been trending down for 3 years now, 4 years in a row.
That is true. It is. I was looking at that under the Biden administration, like I think his 2021, 22, 23, 24, each one. I think there was a year in there that was worse, like in the middle. And then 2025 has gone down again, which is really good. I don't know necessarily what that is. But even if it isn't Trump, I'm happy with what's been. And anytime crime's going down, I'm going to be happy. I think the biggest reason, now that I think about it, would have to be his foreign policy. And lots of people don't like his foreign policy. And I also think that he can be a little ishy. But I also think that how he handled the Israel, everybody thinks Israel's Horus. But I think that how he handled the Israel thing was really smart because he didn't necessarily give it to either Israel or Palestine. But even though there's still issues and it's still not resolved, it is not like it was. And also, I'm really hoping this with Witkoff and Rubio meeting a Ukrainian envoy. I think it might have been this week, and I think it was Florida, to possibly end the war in Ukraine. I think if the war in Ukraine can end, will be probably the best presidency ever. If the Ukraine
not even close. So first of all, let's be very clear: the war between Ukraine and Russia was going to end within the 4 years of this presidency, no matter who won. Okay, neither side could sustain war for 4 more years at the beginning of this presidency. Okay, so Donald Trump could have been elected. Kamala Harris could have been elected. Hell, I could have been elected president. You could have been elected president, and this war was still going to end. Okay, within these 4 years. All right. So this is not in
Why do
any
you say
way
that?
because neither side could sustain 4 more years of war. Neither side has the resources to sustain 4 more years of war. It's just not possible. Neither of them could keep fighting. The U.S. president could go take a nap and not and just sleep for the next 3 years. Okay, and the war between Ukraine and Russia will still end. It does not matter what Trump does. It will end. Okay.
So you aren't one of the people that believe that Putin.
What's
is
going on,
gonna
Matt Raiders?
kill
How you guys doing, by the
Ukraine.
way? Go ahead.
You aren't one of the people that believe that Putin's after Ukraine and then Poland and then.
Of course he is.
So you believe that it's just going to end? You don't think are you picking a winner?
Of course, Putin is trying to get Ukraine and trying to get Poland and trying to get the Baltic states. Of course he is. He can't do it right now. He doesn't have the resources. Okay.
Well, he doesn't have the strong. Well,
he
he has
doesn't
a strong
have.
military, but
He does not have the resources. Okay. He just doesn't have
no, he
it.
doesn't.
Okay. So it doesn't matter what Trump does. The war is going to end. Period. Point blank. Okay. The war is going to end.
Correct.
And if anything, Donald Trump and his actions are delaying the war longer. Right? It's keeping the war going even longer because he's putting up like incredibly crazy deals that not Ukraine or the EU are going to freaking deal with. Right? He's legitimizing Putin's government. If you've seen actually since he took office, casualties in Ukraine have actually skyrocketed and increased all throughout this year as opposed to the previous 2 years since the beginning of the war. Donald Trump is not only not helping to end this war, he's actually making it worse. Okay, so regardless of what happens here, okay, Donald Trump made this thing much worse than it already is. Plus, Donald Trump specifically said in his campaign and in his promises that he was going to end this thing day one. He had all the influence with Putin and all this sort of stuff. He was going to end this thing as soon as he came into office, but it didn't happen. The reason why it didn't
knew
happen
that
is
was
because
gonna happen.
Donald Trump is getting owned by Putin. Okay, Putin is specifically manipulating him. It is very, very obvious that he is doing that. Look at their meeting in Alaska, right, where Donald Trump literally came out spreading Russian propaganda that wasn't true straight out of Putin's mouth and spreading it all over the place. All right.
Okay,
So no, this is not something that Donald Trump is like, oh, he's winning this thing. No, he's not.
So you think Trump is literally owned by Putin? You think he's pretty much his whatever doll?
Well, I think that Donald Trump is being manipulated by an ex-KGB agent. Well, at least that's what I thought until I found out about Bubba. Now I don't know what the fuck Putin has on him, which should be scarier to everybody else. Everybody also.
Okay, if that's the case, though, I'm not arguing that point. I don't necessarily agree with it, but if that's the case, how come Putin invaded Ukraine under Biden and not under Trump?
He didn't invade Ukraine under Biden. When,
Well,
hold
yes,
on, sir,
2022 he
sir,
did.
sir. When
February
was sir,
2022.
sir? When was Biden the president of Ukraine?
I said under Biden.
So every U.S. president gets blamed for 2 other countries fighting a war for the
because
history.
we are the strongest.
Sir,
because we are the strongest, the most influential country in the world, and we are literally the.
Gotcha.
Literally,
Gotcha.
right
Gotcha.
there.
So every single war in the history of in the history of the world, the U.S. president is the reason is responsible for making sure that war happens or does not happen. That's a fucking joke.
Well,
Okay.
the United States has only been a
The
been a
reason-
thing since
The
1776.
reason why Putin invaded Ukraine is because Ukraine actually had a legitimate case to join NATO. Okay. And Putin doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO because Putin wants to take over Ukraine. And he knows if Ukraine joins NATO that he can't do that. That's it. Number one thing on the list of things that Putin wants is for it to be put in the constitution of Ukraine that they never join NATO. It's like the number one thing on the list that Russia's asking for. Why? So that they can come back later and try to invade Ukraine and take it later. And he knows that if Ukraine joins NATO, he can't do that. It's that simple. Okay. If they had a legitimate case under Trump's first administration, they would have invaded then. If they didn't have one until this Trump administration, they would have invaded then. Okay? They invaded based off Ukraine having the ability to join NATO. That just happened to also be while Biden was president. That's all.
Okay. So you believe that no matter what, say Trump had won in 2020 and he was the president for 2 terms instead of 2 unconsecutive terms, that he would have invaded?
I mean, as long as
Insane.
Donald Trump didn't pull us out of NATO, which he said he was going to do. If he had pulled us out of NATO, then maybe they wouldn't have.
Okay, so how do you think? I mean, this you probably think it's literally just a coincidence, but how do you look at this? And you probably hate Trump's foreign policy. Well, with what you said, you don't like it. But anyway, in his first term and his second term so far, Trump since 1774, from 1774 to 2017, and then to now 2025. President Trump, this is, you can go look it up. I'm not just giving you evidence that it's fake. Is the only president in all those years,
Turkish-Kurdish war.
Jimmy Carter, to
Turkish-Kurdish war.
that a war did not start under him.
I just
So,
named
yes,
the
there's
war.
a war under Trump.
I just named the war that started.
What's the war?
Turkish-Kurdish war. I knew what you were already going with. But let's also be clear that no war started under Biden either. Okay, under that logic, it didn't start under Biden. The Ukrainian-Russian war started with the invasion in 2014, and since that war was never called off, that war is still continuing.
That was under Obama. That was
so
under
not
Obama.
under Biden. You're correct.
What do you
So
say?
therefore, the
You
Russian
probably have another.
sir. So
You probably
therefore,
have
so therefore, the Russian-Ukrainian war did not start under Biden. It started under Obama. So therefore, by
Yes.
that logic, okay, there was no new war started under Biden either.
Yes, there was. At least I consider it a war.
You don't get to decide what a war is
does
and what
the
one
year
isn't.
2023 does the day October 7th, 2023 ring a bell? That's a war. That was an absolute.
Oh my
horrendous-
guys, are you? That's crazy. I did not know that Israel just got into a war with Palestine, who they've been occupying for how many decades? That this
Are you
war
a Palestinian, dude?
war just started in October on October 7th. That's crazy.
Okay, I'm not saying the war started on October 7th. I'm not saying that was when everything started, but I am saying that over 12,000 men and women were maimed, babies were shot, women were raped, all kinds of stuff happened on October 7th. And am I saying the IDF has handled it good after that? Am I saying anything like that? No, but I am saying that on October 7th, which was Biden's term, it happened. That's when it started.
All
That
right.
is when
Well, by
the
that
official war
logic,
broke out.
then there was multiple different wars that were being fought around the world where people were getting killed, people were getting murdered, women were getting raped. All of those things were happening in places like the Donbass region during Donald Trump's entire term.
And what about
So
this isn't
what?
a war?
Sir, I
What- no,
don't
I'm
know.
saying-
I don't know what I really think we need to go back to teaching civics. Like for people who don't take civics, okay? I think we need to go back to taking civics. The president's job is not to be a demigod of the entire planet.
No, he is not.
Okay. So therefore, wars start all the time while all sorts of people are president. And they have nothing to do with that war starting. Hell, I can make a much stronger claim that it was the exact policies of the Trump administration that led to the attacks on October 7th, specifically with the Abraham Accords and the isolation of Hamas away from Saudi Arabia due to the Abraham Accords. So, so does it matter the fact that Donald Trump's policies were primarily the reason why that attack happened, or do we just blame Biden because they didn't happen until Biden took over?
Okay, I'm not arguing that case. I'm arguing the case. Logic. You just have to look at logic. And yes, I'm not arguing Trump's. I'm not going to say one way or the other Trump's policies do not affect that. I don't think they did, but whatever. Say they did. Still, I'm not going to say the Afghanistan thing is a war because it wasn't. It was an invasion. They took over Afghanistan. I'm not going into that. I'm just saying that happened, the Ukrainian war, and the October 7th. Pretty much a huge event every year, pretty much. That's 3 out of the 4 years he was in. I'm not saying it was all Biden's fault, but I am saying that even if it was part of Trump's policy, even if it was, when you think logically, does it seem kind of weird that Trump was in there 4 years, none of these things happened, but then, even if it was Trump's policy, magically all of them happened in Biden's term. None of them are Biden's fault, but they all happen in Biden's term.
Yeah.
That
So
just
first of all, you
seems
said
kinda odd.
you said you were gonna use logic, and then you threw all logic out the window completely and just went with your feelings. Okay. And
It's not a-
no,
okay.
that's exactly what just happened, sir. You said I'm gonna go with logic, right? And then completely ignored all logic and just went with my feelings. Okay. Is it weird? Guys, I'm gonna actually this question, caller, okay? Is it weird that we hadn't had like a major worldwide pandemic, right? And then excuse me. And then boom, Trump gets in office and all of a sudden like there's just a pandemic that kills tens of millions of people all across the world. Isn't that just weird? Right? Like, isn't it just like, you can't just tell me it's a coincidence that Donald Trump comes in, dismantles the pandemic response team, and then boom, pandemic comes out of nowhere, destroys our economy, shuts us all down, kills tens of millions of people. You can't tell me that's not Trump's fault, right? That has to be Trump's fault. It's just weird, right? Like, let's use some logic here.
Okay. How about this? You're probably really a fan of how Operation Warp Speed happened with the vaccine.
Sir, I'm not getting into COVID. I'm showing you an example of what you I'm showing you an example of what you just did. Okay? You took a random world event. Okay.
3 random world events. 3 random.
What 3 random world events? None of these were random.
3 random
Zero of these
world
things.
events.
None of these events were random. No event is random. The Ukrainian Russian. Again, sir. Russia invaded Ukraine and annexed Crimea in 2014. Okay, Russia has been
under Obama.
Sir, not under Obama. They just did it in 2014. Stop trying to put a president, sir. Stop trying.
Obama was president in 2014.
Sir. Stop trying to put a president to everything and just listen. Stop trying to tag every single thing to a fucking president and just listen. Okay? Jesus fucking Christ, dude. 2014, Russia. Be quiet.
Sir, I won't.
No, be quiet.
Please don't. I don't care if you use language like that, but I will not down here if you use language like that.
I don't care. Then leave. I could not give a fuck. Okay? 2014, Russia invaded Ukraine. Russia has been saying they are going to take over Ukraine, invade Ukraine, and take it over since Putin got into office in 2000. They have been threatening Ukraine, saying that if Ukraine ever tries to join NATO, they are going to attack. They have been saying that for 25 years. Okay? 12 years ago, when Ukraine tried to join NATO, they said if Ukraine tried to join NATO, that they would attack them. Putin specifically said that would happen. And then finally, it comes to a point where Ukraine has gotten rid of enough corruption in their country in order to try to join NATO, and Russia does exactly what they said they were going to do for 2.5 decades. Okay? That is not a random event. Okay, that had nothing to do with Biden. That had to do with the fact that Ukraine was about to join NATO, and that is a big fucking issue for Russia because Ukraine has the closest warm water port for Russia to be able to use, and if they ever needed to use that, normally they could just attack Ukraine and take it because they're bigger than Ukraine, but they couldn't do that if Ukraine joined NATO because then they would get the wrath of all of Europe and freaking North America attacking in Russia, and Russia couldn't handle that. This is not a random event that just happened to happen because Biden was president. It happened based off of decades and decades and decades and decades of freaking of build up and build up and build up and build up, including a previous attack and annexation. Okay, this is not a random attack. Israel has been fighting with everybody in the Middle East since their freaking creation. Okay, and reinstitution back in the Middle East. There has been constant tension, constant attacks, the occupying of freaking Gaza, of Palestine, of the attacks into Lebanon, attacks into Beirut, right, by Russia that have been happening longer than I've been alive. Okay, this isn't some random thing that just happened. Okay, and it happened to happen under the Biden administration. No, it happened due to the Abraham Accords and the isolation of Palestine from Saudi Arabia and their other Muslim countries in there by isolating them away and making trade deals between Israel and Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE. Therefore, making the Gazans feel like they were isolated and causing Hamas to need to make an attack in order to show that they could still stand. This isn't a random event. These are things that have been building up for decades and decades and decades and decades and decades, which had a catalyst of the Abraham Accords and then was turned on. You guys think so short-sighted. It's so short-sighted, okay, to just sit there and be like, Joe Biden was president, so everything's Joe Biden's fault. Or Donald Trump was president, so everything is Donald Trump's fault. Or Obama was president, so everything is Obama's fault. Things are more complicated than that. Okay? Things are a lot more complicated than that. You have to be able to think with some type of depth, okay? With some type of foresight, with some type of understanding. Okay, you can't just blame the person sitting in the office and just say, oh, he's up there, so therefore any world event that I don't like, I can blame on them. It's a ridiculous stance, dude. It's a ridiculous stance. So stop being like, dude, things happen that Obama can't control. Things happen that Trump can't control.
Sure.
Okay? I'm pretty sure if Trump could control world events, that freaking we would actually have a real world ending to the war in Russia and Palestine, which we don't have, and the war between Russia and Ukraine would be over. But it's not, because Donald Trump can't fucking control that. Okay, there's only two people that could start the war between Russia and Ukraine, and there's only two people that can end it. The only person that was able to start it was Vladimir Putin, and the only people that can end it are Putin and Zelensky. That's fucking it. Those are the only two people. Okay, Biden did not cause Russia to invade Ukraine. Circumstance caused Russia to invade Ukraine. Okay, a weakness in their military strategy caused them to invade Ukraine. Not Biden, not Kamala Harris, and not fucking Trump. None of them did. So please, for the love of God, stop trying to just tag everything in the fucking world based off of who was president at the time. That's not the way it works. We didn't blame fucking Roosevelt when the Nazis invaded Poland. All right? We don't just blame every single world war on whoever the president of the United States is just because we're a military power. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
It is. But you have to admit, I think you'll have to admit it, that the United States is literally, this isn't just because we're a superpower, no. And I'm not, whatever you just said, all of that, whatever. And I'm still not going to say that none of it was Trump. I'm not saying that. All I am saying is it's just odd if you're only blaming Biden. It's just odd. I mean, only blaming Trump. It's just odd that out of the last 50 years, the only wars that began were you don't believe the Ukrainian war began under Biden, whatever. None of them began under Trump. I'm not arguing that Trump had a good presidency. I'm not arguing one way or the other. I believe he did in a lot of sense. I believe that how he handled COVID wasn't the smartest in a lot of sense, and different things. But I also believe the United States is the strongest country in the world. There's a reason that we can stop worldwide things. I'm not saying we could have stopped the Ukrainian invasion. We couldn't, not necessarily, but I am saying we have a big say in big events because we have 5,000 nukes. We have the strongest Air Force, the strongest Navy, the strongest Space Force. Country's fear us, and I just think you have to think in terms like that.
Oh, he ran. I was actually pulling up the wars that started under the Trump administration. September of 2020. Let's see. November 2020. Let's see. There's a couple of them. Anyways, I don't know why he ran. I didn't hang up on him. His phone died, maybe? No. His phone died at the end of his sentence. Give me a break. All right, y'all. Make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really, really appreciate you guys. You guys rock. Oh, I can't? Yeah, right. Yeah, I totally can. the Second Nagorno-Karabakh War, a 44-day war between Azerbaijan and Armenia over the disputed Nagra, and I can't pronounce that. The Tigray War, a devastating civil war in the Tigray region of Ethiopia between the Tigray People's Liberation Front and the Ethiopian federal government, which drew other regional actors. Then we have the Syrian strikes. We have quite a few actual different things that were started under the Trump administration. It's actually not that hard to find. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really, really appreciate you guys. We are doing this little early live on a Friday. I don't normally go on Fridays, but we're having some fun over here. I think we're having some fun. Thank you so much for Brian. Thank you so much for the gold medal. I appreciate that. And Julian, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Funny enough, first super chat of the day. An hour and a half in, we got our first super chat of the day. So we got to get huge W's in the chat for Julian. For the first super chat of the day that just says, sir. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. We're going to keep this thing going. Actually, I might as well leave that up for a while. It's my one I got over here, so I might as well leave it up for a while. Oh, I thought I'd turn the phone lines on. Oh, all right. Well, if you still support Trump, we're going to keep this thing going. With a little conversation. So if you support Trump, come on and get the joint. Oh, or call in like that. Yeah. Hello, how are you?
Ave Christus Rex.
I did not hear what you said. Well, I had someone in the TikTok guest request box, and they also left. Make sure you guys are making sure you guys are following my page. Please turn on those notifications also, so you guys know when I go live, in case I ever do some little special stuff like this. So very, very fun. Make sure you guys watch my videos too, because I know how many of you guys watch it, and it's not as many as I have here. So some of y'all are slacking. Hello, how are you?
Good, Dem Zombie. How are you?
You just call me Dem Zombie.
You're a Dem Zombie.
I mean, I kind of like
that Biden was. Did you believe Biden was competent?
I kind of like the zombie part. I'm not a Democrat.
Did you believe that Biden was competent?
I'm not a Democrat though. Can you just call me like a progressive zombie?
Oh, okay. So you're a progressive, right?
I am. I'm just saying.
So that means you're for big government control, right?
All I'm just asking, instead of Democrat zombie, I would just prefer progressive zombie. Since I'm not a Democrat, let's make it a little more accurate.
Okay, so the progressives are for big government control, correct?
Or you could just go with super hot zombie. I like that too.
Okay, so you're a progressive.
Up. I like being gassed
You're
up.
a progressive. So you're for big government control, correct?
For big government control when it comes to what?
See, this is how low info, low frequency you progressives are. Bernie, AOC, and the gang are for big government control, and you don't even know what that means.
Bernie's a Democratic
That's why
socialist.
you're a zombie. That's why you're a zombie.
Bernie's a Democratic.
Are you saying that?
Bernie's a Democratic.
Are you saying that socialism isn't big government control? Is that what you're telling me?
Sir.
Zombie?
Sir. What I was saying is that Bernie Sanders is a Democratic socialist, which is not the same as a progressive. So,
okay. So what politician?
Maybe you need some help over here. I think I see. There's two of you guys here. Maybe between both of you guys, you guys can get a good state.
Who do you like? So who do you like? Who is your ideal candidate for president?
Maybe between
2028.
Maybe between both of you guys can figure out what a progressive and what a.
Hey,
progressives are for big government control. They're for more taxes, regulations. What don't you understand? You zombie.
So that's why I asked you in which sector you're talking about.
He didn't know that progressives are for big government control.
The host guys look flustered. I agree.
Because they're not.
You're a moron.
Oh, okay. Well, I understand that you guys want to talk. Are you going to let me actually say anything?
Who's your candidate? Just tell me who your ideal candidate is. Who's your candidate?
You're my ideal candidate.
You can't even name. You can't even name a candidate.
I like that one. That's a good one, isn't it? Zombabe. I like that one too. Zaddy
You're a zombie.
Zaddy zombie. I like.
So
that
did you believe that Biden was competent? Was Biden competent? True or false? All right, you don't want to answer that one. Is Mexico dangerous? True or false?
That was
Is
a hell of a
Mexico
pivot.
dangerous?
That was a hell of a pivot, wasn't it?
Well, you can't name it. You can't, you're coming up with a donut with a zero. So is Mexico dangerous?
I don't know, every time I
Yes
try
or
to
no?
answer like a question with any type of depth, you just cut me off and start yelling again.
You
So I
have
just figured
no
I would
depth.
stop.
You have no depth. You're stalling. Is Mexico dangerous?
How are you doing, Dirk?
Well, I'm
What
doing
a moron.
fantastic. I'm listening to this guy cook you, and you look very flustered.
Yeah, I'm
He's
super
getting
flustered.
cooked.
I'm getting so cooked,
That's
guys.
what you call getting cooked.
Guys, can we get some frying pan emojis in the chat for how bad I'm getting cooked?
Progressives are for big government control, but you don't
already
even know that.
already said that part, sir.
You're a
Are you,
doofus.
Does he think progressive is small
crashing out?
government?
Are you
Is
crashing
progressive small government or
out?
big government?
Are you crashing out? I was hoping between both of you guys could get like a cognitive
This
statement
guy is a
Well, I
together.
mean, this
moron,
guy's
dude.
covering it for me. What do I
This
need
guy
to
is
say?
a moron.
Oh.
But you're a dime a dozen. All the progressives are low info, low frequency, just like you.
Mm.
You don't even know what you're voting for. You're a buffoon. You're getting cooked.
He doesn't even know
You
what
guys
to
are
say.
doing great, by the way.
Yeah, we are.
You think you're doing
You're
well?
getting wrecked.
You're
Yeah,
not even
you're
saying
right.
anything,
Go.
host.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
don't.
define woman?
I don't.
just
Can you
whining.
define woman?
I don't do this whole just like yelling and screaming at each other like on random topics.
No, you
like,
get
that's not
cooked.
really that's not really my thing.
You just get wrecked.
so
You get wrecked.
again. If you guys would like to have like some type of coherent, direct conversation, I would be more than happy to have that.
Okay, progressives are for big government or small government?
If you just give those two options, then it would be a larger government. Yeah.
Okay, so you're for big government control, correct?
What do you mean by control?
My God. It's just, see, this is what we're dealing
This
with,
is the best the
dude.
Democrats have.
I'm
This
again.
is it.
I'm
What do you
again.
mean by the
This
word
dude gets
control?
this dude just gets
I'm
rousted. He gets
again-
wrecked on TikTok all the.
You guys literally don't.
Can
can't
you
understand.
define woman?
See why I'm trying to make
Can you
a
define
statement?
woman?
I'm not
Define
a
woman.
Democrat. Okay.
You're a
Yes,
progressive.
you are.
No, I'm not actually.
You are a Democrat.
You're a Democrat.
Name a Republican you support.
I don't support any.
Oh, okay. Name a Democrat you support. You don't support any?
You're Democrats. You
No,
dumbass.
I don't really support them either.
You don't support any Democrat?
No,
So
that's
what
why
do
I'm
you
not-
Who
that's
do you
why I'm not a
endorse for
Democrat.
2028?
Hmm?
Who do you endorse?
I don't
Who do
endorse
you
anyone
endorse?
for
Name one person.
2028.
Did you vote for Kamala?
No, I did not vote for whatever you
No,
just
you
said.
didn't vote for Kamala.
No, I definitely did not
Why
vote for
did
whatever
okay,
you
why
so
just
did
what are
said.
you crying
Kamala
about on
refuse to
here all
secure
day
the
then?
border?
What
Why
are you
did Kamala
vouching for?
refuse to secure the border? How many doses of the vaccine did you get? And how old are you?
I
And
think,
how much
hold on.
estrogen do you take per day?
I think I need to get like
Do
all
you
of these.
smoke
I think
the
I need to
pole?
start taking notes. Okay, so hold on.
Do you smoke pole?
Let's see. What
You know he does. You don't need
is
to ask that.
a woman?
Oh, yeah, he does.
Okay.
Yeah, what is a woman?
All right.
You know?
How much estrogen did you take?
How many
much
vaccines did you get?
Estrogen.
How old are you and how many vaccines
Okay. How many vaccines
How
did
many
I get?
poles do you smoke per day?
Vaccines did I
What
get?
gang runs your
Hold on.
block?
I'm still about this. Something.
What gang runs your street?
Something about a bunch of Republicans talking about male genitalia as normal. Male genitalia. They love to talk about
Did
male
you believe in
genitalia.
the? Did you believe the Russia collusion hoax?
Russia collusion. All right. let's
We
see if
could we
can
should
get
just
that
go
one.
through all the hoaxes that
I
this
know, I know.
buffoon.
Just
false-
all the hoaxes. We'll just put all hoaxes. That's pretty good.
Dude,
all
you're
hoaxes.
done. I gotta go, man.
All
I know this
hoaxes.
guy's
Is
boring,
this-
dude. I thought he'd be
is
more
this my-
fun.
is
I
this
think
the
I proved
list?
my point, man. What a dope!
I got the list up here. Is that
And then
everything?
you have people in
dope.
the chat going, "Whoa, this host is so good. He's destroying the
What a
guest."
dope!
This
He's a
guy's
zombie.
not saying anything.
He's a zombie. I told you he was a zombie.
Literal NPC.
A hot zombie though. A zaddy zombie.
NPC.
We did figure that part out though.
Hey, dude, when you stand for nothing, you fall for everything, man. Stand for nothing, fall for everything. He doesn't know that progressives are for big government control. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? What a dope. Cooked.
Look at this goofball smile.
It's
Cooked.
insane.
You smoked the pole or what? You a top or a bottom?
Why you interested?
Fuck no. What gang runs your block?
Well,
what,
if you're-
what damn inner city do you live in?
Ooh, now with the racism, that's a good one. I didn't have that on my list yet. Racism.
What did I say that was racist? What did I say that was racist?
racism? That's a good one.
What did I say that's
This
racist?
is great for me. Yeah.
If you don't vote for Biden, you ain't black, boy.
I love it. I love it completely
boy.
when Republicans come up here and hit on me. I think it's great.
Dude, you're a damn slave, bro.
He asked me if I was a. He asked you. One of them asked me if I was a
You're
top
a
or a bottom.
slave.
One of them asked me if I was a
Modern-day
top or a bottom,
slave.
and the other one asked me if I wanted to
It's insane.
give him a little something something. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy,
This
guys.
is the best the
instead of-
Democrats have. How
instead-
sad is this?
instead-
This is what they're resorting
Instead
to.
of coming up here and screaming,
Has
you
this,
guys should
has
just
this guy have
ask
so
me
many
out.
viewers?
You guys should just ask
This guy
me
doesn't
out.
say anything.
I'm gonna say
Can you
no.
make like an
like I'm
argument
gonna say
for
no.
why
This guy's
you
got
want
no-
that?
Like I can
no
definitely,
result
like I
at
can
all.
definitely
Just
tell.
defaults.
Like I can definitely tell I'm hotter
Defaults to
than
the
both of you.
NPC talking points.
I know.
Yeah, I'm definitely hotter than both of you
Big
guys.
bad orange man.
But like maybe both of you guys
You're
combined.
racist.
You didn't call us xenophobic
You're a
yet. Where's that
racist
one?
because you said I live in the damn inner city.
By the
Oh,
way,
I didn't
guys.
say
I live in the
xenophobic
desert.
yet.
By the
so
way,
did you
if
skip
any
that
of you
part in your
guys
script?
ever like think about going to like a MAGA live, this is exactly what it sounds like.
Why are
This is
why are damn inner
this
cities
is
so
this
dangerous?
is why like there's only like 20 people in like the largest one of their lives is because all of them sound exactly like these two. I'm not even saying anything. They're literally arguing with themselves.
Yeah, we know you're not saying anything.
To themselves. They're just arguing with
Why is
themselves.
Somalia dangerous? Is it
themselves.
because it's filled with Somalians? Why are the damn inner cities dangerous? Is it because it's filled with Dems and maybe blacks?
Can you name one
that
thing
why?
a Somalian has invented?
Why is Sweden safe? Is it because it's filled with Swiss people? You people are buffoons.
Can you name an invention from a Somalian?
Besides pirating,
Yeah. Besides pirating,
he's cooked, man. He does. He's look at this guy.
he's googling right now.
What
But
has
dude-
Somalia invented?
No, I'm actually just messing
a
with my
dime a dozen.
audio settings.
Anytime I go live with,
How do I
anytime I go live with
you
any
guys know
damn
how I
zombie,
fix
this is what
these
you get.
audio settings? I'm like, I don't.
He's cooked. Why do you still support Trump? Well, can you name one thing Biden did to improve your life or community?
There we go. Let's
No.
do this.
That's why I
Besides
support
importing,
There we go,
millions
we'll
of
do this. How
potential
about that?
Democrat voters.
That's why I support
Anyways,
Trump.
sorry. What were you guys
Go
saying?
down to Mexico, dude. You'll last a fucking weekend.
I've been to Mexico. It's great out there.
Well, oh, it's
So why
great
don't
out
you
there.
move
What
there?
city? Yeah, what city?
I used to go to
Cancun.
TJ actually. Let's go to TJ a
You
lot.
used to go to TJ when?
When I was growing up.
Okay. Is Tijuana dangerous? Is it a
Oh,
top
yeah.
20 dangerous city in the world?
Well, I don't know if it's top 20. It's definitely dangerous. I would not advise going there at night.
It's why is it dangerous? Is it because of alligators and crocodiles and spiders, or is it because of the people?
I mean, probably the same reason that like East Texas is dangerous because there's too because I can't go there because there's too many people that sound
Chicago,
like
or
you.
Baltimore.
Oh
Philly,
no, I
any
feel
damn-
I
any damn inner
feel I
city.
feel a lot more comfortable.
Portland, Seattle.
I feel a lot more comfortable in Chicago or Tijuana than any city that you live in.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, go walk through a black neighborhood after dark, homie.
I
dope,
can
dude.
and I can do that.
Why do blacks commit the majority of murders in the USA?
They don't.
They don't. Who
Oh,
does?
they don't. They don't, huh?
Who does then?
No, white
Who
people
do-
do.
White people. Can you show us
No, they
stats on
don't,
that?
dude.
Yeah, the FBI stats show that.
Go ahead.
Black
show
people
them.
actually
Yeah,
Hold
the
up.
make-
FBI
sir-
stats say that
Pull it up.
55% of all
Sir,
murders
I'm
are
trying
committed
to
by blacks.
I'm trying to
That's
speak.
more than every other race
No.
combined.
The
Please
FBI
explain.
stats show that the most
Please explain.
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, I
pull up
actually
the
am
stats.
trying to engage
Pull
with
up the
you.
stats.
Sir,
Show
I,
us,
I am
fucktard.
trying to
Pull up the
engage with you.
stats.
I am trying to engage with you. Okay, but I'm not
Man,
going to
you're
do it if
failing.
you guys are just yelling. Okay?
You're failing.
You're just
miserably at
lying.
engaging.
All right.
You're
So
lying.
here's what's
though.
gonna happen.
You're lying.
I'm going to
So
go
what
ahead and say this
percentage of
statement,
murders
and
are committed
if
by
either
blacks?
of you guys talk, I'm dropping you. Okay?
What percentage of
All
murders
right, there we go. So,
Insane.
like I
Can
said,
you show proof that blacks don't commit
all
the
right,
most
there we go.
murders?
So, what I was trying to say was, while black people do make the majority of the arrests, okay, they also make up the majority of the exonerations because black people are arrested more for murders that they don't commit. But if you actually look at the conviction rate of black people, it's actually very, very small. So they're not committing the majority of the murders. They are just getting arrested for the majority of the murders, because our criminal justice system is incredibly racist. But they don't want me to say any of that stuff. That was kind of fun. Y'all, please make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you hadn't already. I figured between both of them, maybe they would be able to get like a coherent sentence together. It did not work. Okay. But when people are like, come in, they're like, oh, why don't you just let them talk? Because that's what they sound like. And I just want to let everybody know that that's why. That's what they sound like. That was kind of fun, actually. Maybe I'll do that again sometime. Bake, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Said, what the fuck is this called? Tell these R words to shut the fuck up. I tried. They were very angry for some reason. I think they were mad because they couldn't figure out whether I was a top or a bottom. I think that really upset them. Chewy, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Said Trump just subsidized AI companies. Caller is cucked. Yeah, that's for sure. Carolyn, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Said typical MAGA, nothing but insults because they are uneducated like Trump likes. 100%. That's very true. Me Too's play Jackass theme song. I should have played that like a like the circus one. The circus, you know what I'm talking about? Also, I definitely saw someone in my chat whose name is literally Moreno Valley. That's where I grew up. Benny Hall song. That's what that is. Benny Hall song. Megan said, we know these two are in the We Can Always Tell camp. Yeah, 100%. Whenever I hear the We Can Always Tell thing, I know Benny Hall. Yeah, that's right. Benny Hill. I can always tell whenever they're like, We Can Always Tell camp. It's always like, I was really attracted to a trans woman, and now I don't know what to do. Now I think they all need to go away. Because I was attracted to them, and now I don't know what to do with my sexuality. That's just all I feel every single time they say it. Lovely Goddess said, oh, is this a Grinder live? I think that's what it became, actually. I think it turned into a Grinder live at some point. Linus says, for zombie support, cook these two. They are literally not worth trying to cook. Like, really, I'm not going to sit here and just jump from subject to subject to subject with them. If one of them actually wanted to have a legitimate conversation, I would do that. But I got better things to do than to listen to those two freaking just circle jerk each other or whatever they're doing. But thank you so much, Linus. I really, really do appreciate that. Huge W's to the chat for Linus. I did cook them. Oh, okay, that works too. MAGA are all the same nut jobs as Wake Up Sleep. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Chihuahua said, did the Microween support group end early? Also, Charlie Kirk. Jesus Christ. I didn't read that second part. Holy shit. All right. And we need Dumb and Dumber to exit the call. They're gone. So I wasn't ready for any of that. Yeah, those dudes had meth brain. That was bad. That was wrong for whoever put that. I really got to start reading super chats before I put them on the screen. Okay? That was wrong. That was wrong. I was just surprised by it. All right? It was wrong. I was just surprised by it. All right? And see, I got to read it now. See, you guys are throwing me off by putting them up there and then I wasn't reading it. Charlie Brown, for all this fault, says some Charlie Brown, for all of his faults, has an awesome, short, and even cooler dog. Snoop is a real motherfucker. All right. Well, this live took a whole bunch of turns. Holy shit. This I don't know where we're going with all this. This all just took so many turns. But we're going to keep this thing going, see if we can get another conversation going. Hopefully something better than what we just had, because that was kind of crazy. All right. No, the Moval thing. So we were supposed to do a meet and greet in Riverside like last week. Was it last week? I think it was last week or something like that. We are going to do it. hopefully in March or April in downtown Riverside. We actually went down there. We actually got a place. We actually know where we're going to do it now. So we are going to be doing a meet and greet in downtown Riverside, hopefully March, April timeframe. And what I'm hoping is that we can do it. Yeah, we were in Riverside last week. We wanted to do it then, but it was just kind of, it didn't work out as well. But we are going to do it in downtown Riverside, literally March, April timeframe. I'm hoping to even possibly throw in a Vegas trip with it. I'm hoping. And do both. But we'll see. But regardless, make sure you're in my Discord. Make sure you're in my Discord so that when we announce it, that people are that you guys know when and where and all that sort of stuff. I'm not gonna say the place yet. I'm not. I know what it is. It's a place. It's a place in Riverside, and it's well, I found out I know the I know the owner there. So yeah, we're gonna do it's a real cool little spot in downtown Riverside. So we're gonna do that hopefully end of March, early April. Ari and I are kind of planning it ahead right now. So it should be fun. Should be fun. But I'm hoping to do one in Riverside and one in Vegas, and we're hoping to do like, you know, back-to-back little nights or something like that. So I wish we had gotten to do it before, but yeah, it's a super chill spot. I may have had a few too many wines there while I was there. I might have had a few too many wines there. But I do know the owners, and I know they're not Trump supporters, so we should be clear. Ari, you're always cold. I don't know what you're talking about. Fly said stupid and racist versions of Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, that pretty much nails it. And Jocko says, you know, I'll be there. Yeah, we only had like I think before we canceled, I think we only had like 4 or 5 people that were coming to the last one. I want to make sure we get a good crowd. I know we got peoples out in the Riverside area or closer in driving distance of the Riverside area. I know that you guys are out there. So I want to make sure that we can do this nice and in advance, have it completely set up and all that sort of stuff. That way, when we go to do it, we're, we get a full turnout. So I don't want anybody to miss. Again, we have not announced a date yet. It'll be sometime in July, or sorry, in March, April timeframe. And it'll be in Riverside. I know that. They'll be in downtown Riverside. So, no, we do need to do one in Florida. I don't know why we haven't done one in Florida. I'd love to do one in like Tampa area. That would be really cool. That'd be
Insane.
all right. You know, that was actually better, like more intelligent conversation than the previous 2 guests. Funny enough, that was actually better conversation than the previous 2 guests. That was actually amazing. I mean, honestly. Valador, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Said that call was like listening to 2 toddlers rile each other up. Yeah, that's literally all it was. Yeah, no, I think a Florida one would be nice. I'd probably do it in like Tampa area. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, it's going well. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good.
Awesome. How old are you?
25.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yeah, I do. Not all of the stuff, you know. Like, I don't think anybody should support everything, but he does a lot of good shit. Does a lot of stupid shit, but I'd say overall, I'm more positive on him.
And what has he done that's positive?
I like his trade deals that he's been doing.
Which one?
I like the Japan one. That one's pretty cool. You might not like the Saudis, because they are kind of evil, but I think they're necessary evil. That one's I would say is good.
Have we had a signed trade deal with Japan yet? I don't think we have.
Pretty sure we have.
I don't think we have.
I say, well, I mean, pretty sure we did because he has part of his quid pro quo with it was Japan wanted him to get rid of the small vehicle tax, and he did do that. So I'm pretty sure.
Huh?
I mean, I don't know if it's totally finalized yet. You might be right if it's not finalized, but
I'm pretty sure it's not. So therefore, but sir, if we don't have a signed trade deal, then we don't have a trade deal.
Yeah, but he's working on one. I mean, that's
not a trade deal. That's just grandstanding.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, pretty like it's an effort, right? Like it takes time to have that kind of thing.
Well, sir, we were already in a trade deal with Japan, right?
Well, we have trade deals with every country. This is
Right.
a new investment.
Yeah. So
maybe I probably phrased it wrong, but the way like a new investment coming in. And I don't know exactly. I can't remember. It was in the like couple $100 billion, I think.
yeah, Japan specifically came out and said that those would be like loans that they would give us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do we
Well,
want
that's-
loans from Japan?
Well, it builds our economy, right? So like,
Getting
part of-
loans
so
from
a
Japan
good-
builds our
a good
economy?
reason- yeah.
How?
Because a good reason, for example, right, because of this process we're going through with the loan and shit, Toyota is building a couple more truck factories here.
Where?
Because specifically, I don't know what state yet, but they want to bring their Hiluxes over, which
They're-
Hilux has been illegal here since the 80s, right? Not the 80s, 90s.
So you're saying that the trade deal was so good because it brought more foreign cars to the United States?
Well, that's jobs. You know, Honda employs more Americans than Ford does.
Yeah, Donald Trump's already down 1 million jobs this year. Is Toyota
And
making
I'm
up for
saying
that?
I support that he's doing that. That he's bringing in jobs. That's
He's not bringing in
and
jobs.
you went
The unemployment rate is rising on a monthly basis.
It's insane.
We're at a 4
rising though.
We're at a 4.4% unemployment rate right now. That's the highest it's been since we shut down for COVID.
Yeah, I mean it went up 0.1% last month.
And it went up 0.1% the month before that and 0.1% the month before that.
Yeah, but we're talking 0.1%. I mean, how high was it during COVID?
I think it reached
Which again,
ridiculous
again-
numbers, but then it came down after COVID, and then it hasn't been up this high since.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The factories aren't built yet, but it's going. I mean, it's a long.
I haven't even heard about any
It's
of
not
these
like you can
factories.
snap
I
your-
know that they were retooling a Civic factory somewhere in like Ohio and stuff like that, but that was about it. I haven't heard about them building any new factories in here.
I would think they would have to build one.
Why?
Well, because their factories are built for American trucks, and now they're going to be able to sell. I mean, this is just one really specific example too, but you know, like if you think about it, a company that has an American truck market, now they're trying to bring in the smaller trucks that they can sell abroad. They're going to have that's going to open up jobs regardless.
Yeah, it's going to open up jobs for Toyota at the expense of jobs for American car makers. Because
Why
if there's
why do
more
I care
Toyota
about
trucks,
Ford jobs that are overseas.
if there's more trucks in the United States that are being made by a foreign company, that means there's less trucks being made in the United States by American companies.
Yeah. Okay. But
So that means less people working in those factories.
okay. But are you saying like Toyota is a foreign company because it's mainly Japanese?
Because it's owned by
Right.
Japanese
Well, so I'm gonna
businessmen
argue,
and it's based
how
out of
many-
Japan. Yes.
Okay, but so how many of and I don't know the answer to this question, but how many, like what's the percentage of America owning Toyota? And what I mean by that, you know, like American.
I don't know. What
businesses,
does that have to
American
do with any?
stockholders.
What does that have to do with my
Well, because
statement?
I'm gonna argue that like Ford and Dodge, I would say they're more foreign owned. I mean, they just say they're American owned, but it would not surprise me if they're more foreign owned than Honda. Like Honda employs more Americans than Ford, Dodge, Chevy,
Okay, yep,
So
you're
that's
saying that, but
more
I'm asking
that's
why
more
that's a
American
good
jobs,
thing,
though.
sir. So I think there's a little confusion here. You're saying that that happens. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know who employs more people, whether it's Toyota or Honda in the United States. I don't, or Ford. I don't know that in the United States. My question is, why is it better that Japanese companies are coming to the United States and putting Americans to work in their factories as opposed to those people working in American car factories? Why is that better for them to be working for Toyota instead of Ford?
Because those are American, like that's American jobs versus Ford, who's outsourcing labor.
They're
Right.
they're they're
They've been
they're
trying
both American
Ford's been
jobs.
trying to outsource jobs into Mexico, Canada, across the sea, across the ocean.
Toyota also makes cars in Mexico and Canada, and they're
Well,
not
I mean,
stopping anytime soon.
if you're realistic, every company does. But I'm saying I know that Honda employs more Americans than Ford and GM.
But why is that a good thing?
Well, because that adds into your economy. If you're paying Americans, that means Americans are getting paid. They're spending money. That's how an economy works.
Sir. I'm only going to ask this question one more time because it's really not a difficult question. I don't know why I'm having to keep asking it over and over.
I feel like I've answered it.
No, you're not, sir. You just keep making the point. Okay, you just keep making the point that they hire Americans. I understand that. I'm not arguing with you on that. I do not know who employs more people. I don't know. Okay? Here's what I do know. Okay? If Toyota comes over here and builds a factory, all right, to start selling American trucks, that is going to employ people at the cost of American companies' employments. They are even trades. It's not like, the Toyota is going to come over here and start making cars, making trucks or whatever. And then we're just going to more people are going to drive cars. No, if Toyota comes over here and starts building more vehicles and starts selling more vehicles in the United States, that means that other car companies aren't. And when those other car companies aren't selling as many cars, that means they fire American workers. Okay? So we don't add to the economy in that, all right? We now just have a Japanese company using American labor to build their cars, right? But still, Japan's company is the profitable people in here, as opposed to an American company being the profitable business in here.
Yeah, and I mean, I see your point, I do, but also, right, if, for Ford example, they're trying to open plants, so if they do that and they outsource their labor, and Toyota comes in, the numbers might not add up exactly, but at least some American jobs are being replaced. Like Ford's going to cut those American jobs anyway. So I don't see, it's like I don't see how one company doing good is bad for everybody. I mean, obviously you want companies that are American owned to do good, but if they don't give a shit and they're leaving,
They're not. They're not leaving. They're still here. They're still very, very much here, sir. They're still very, very much here, right? Not to mention the fact that, right, you have situations like you had with Hyundai, right, in Georgia, where they're bringing over a whole bunch of Korean workers in order to to work in the factories and to help lead the factories instead of Americans. Not to mention the fact that generally, right, car companies in the United States are unionized in the with the UAW, right? And foreign car makers are not. So therefore, American car makers are providing higher wages for their employees, better work conditions for their employees, right? Where the foreign companies are not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think though, I'm pretty sure that if you have to be you don't have to be in a union in most states, but I don't think Toyota can come in here and tell their American workers they can't be in a union. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Then as your other point with the Hyundai thing, I do not think we should be bringing in immigrants to replace American jobs like that. Specifically, I don't like H-1Bs. Because of that, it's undercutting American labor a lot. And I would probably agree with you. I don't know if you would agree with that at all, but that's one thing that I don't like that Trump's doing is the H-1Bs.
Yeah. So here's a little chart over here for everybody as far as the breakdown of U.S. employment. This is fiscal year 2018, which is where I have the data on that. And General Motors is by far number one as far as U.S. employment. Ford is number two. Number three is FCA US, which I actually don't know what that is.
I don't know if that is either.
But yeah, I don't know what that is. And then Toyota and Honda are fourth and fifth place, and combined, they don't reach even Ford, which is number two.
And so is that total employees or is that American employees?
It's American.
Okay. I mean, if that's, I mean, you pulled it up. That's what it is. I was wrong, and I'll admit that. But
Oh, Fiat
again, I don't
Chrysler.
see
That's
how-
what that's what FCA is. Fiat. That's Fiat Chrysler. That's right.
Chrysler?
Yeah. Fiat. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I still though I do not believe that it's bad for a foreign company to open up jobs in the U.S.
Sure. I don't necessarily believe that it's bad for a foreign company to open up jobs in the U.S. either. Okay. I truly don't. All right. But just making the idea that like, oh, Toyota's doing this, Toyota's doing that. Like, okay, that's fine. Right. But the entire point of Donald Trump's trade deals, and, you know, even off of his train work of a deal, it's just lowering the tariff down to, I believe, 15%. Right. The whole idea that he said behind this, right, was to, you know, help American companies, right? To help build up American companies, to buy American. That's what he said. If we put these tariffs on there, then we'll start manufacturing more in America. We'll start buying more American, right? And that's going to boost our economy. And you're telling me that Japan's trade deal literally just includes Japan coming over here and us buying more foreign.
No, it's more complicated than that. It's not just them opening up factories here. There's other stuff. Like I think there's some shipping things in there with American companies helping opening up shipping deals in Japan. But it's not like it's just one piece of the puzzle. It's an investment in it, even though it's kind of a loan. It's an investment into our economy that our government doesn't have to put up.
What investment into our economy that our government doesn't have to put up? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I mean it's better than us printing money, right? Like we'll probably have to pay back some of this loan, but that we're also, it's not like we're just going to write a check for that. They're going to calculate that.
So what do you think we write checks for? You think we write checks for people to build factories?
I was using that as like a expression. Like we're not just going to have the Fed print out a bunch of money and give it to Japan. That's how we would pay that back. Would be with goods.
But by the way, yes, they are. Toyota is opening up a new plant this year in North Carolina. They announced that in 2021.
Yeah, but did they announce that they paused it?
They did not pause it. They had been continually building it. That's how long it takes from an announcement of a factory until you build it.
I know, but I mean, it's 2022. I don't know the whole story on the plant. I didn't know that they were opening plants up here. I did know that. And Toyota specifically said that this trade deal, it wasn't entirely on it. They've been wanting to sell their Hiluxes and their small pickups here forever, but it's been illegal. And part of the reason for this trade deal going through is that tariff that caused that back in the 90s is being repealed.
Gotcha. So our entire trade deal that we did to, that disrupted, our stock market, disrupted our GDP and our economy, that freaking has caused all of these companies to shed jobs and move on to different things. All of that was so Japan now has the ability to sell more cars in America.
No,
that sounds like we
that
just
is
got
the
our
whole-
asses handed to us in a negotiation. That's what that
not
sounds
what
like.
I said specifically that this Toyota thing is just one piece of this trade deal. This trade deal is freaking huge.
This trade deal
And I
doesn't
don't think
exist.
that how is it shedding our GDP?
This trade deal doesn't exist. Let's be very clear. Okay. The trade deal doesn't exist.
Not signed yet, but it's like anything. You're negotiating, you're selling, right?
So then everything you're saying could go out the
It takes
window.
time. It could. I don't think it will though. There's this much money on the table for both sides. Why would it go out?
What money is on the table for us?
Totally wrong. What's on the table for us?
Yeah.
We're getting capital.
It's
How?
insane.
Companies are opening up here. We're getting capital. We're getting paid.
What companies?
We'll have to pay back. Well, I hate to keep going back to Toyota.
Toyota was already doing this before the trade deal. So what companies?
I know there's a shipping thing. There's American companies that are opening. I haven't read the whole trade deal. It's changing all the time. But I do know
We
that there
already
are American
we already
shipping
had
companies that are opening up new contracts because of this.
we already had generally open trade with Japan prior to this.
No, yes, we did.
So
But
so what are you telling me? We
they're
put all
buying
these
out, like,
tariffs
American
on for
companies.
so that we could get so that we could get back to where we were before Trump took office?
No, you're oversimplifying this a lot.
I'm not oversimplifying it. You just seem to not know
kind of
much
are.
about it, and you're trying to make this projection that this trade deal is so good for Americans, but it doesn't seem like you know anything about it that is actually good for Americans.
It's good for any money coming in. It's good for Americans.
There's nothing saying money's coming in.
It's going okay, but
Okay,
to pay
there's
it
nothing
back,
saying Donald Trump got up on stage. Okay. Donald Trump got up on stage and was like, "Hey, we have this. Japan is going to do like all of this investment." And then the prime minister of Japan, like the next week, was like, "Yeah, no, the fuck, we're not. We might give you a loan."
That was and what you're looking at was a month ago, and it's progressed from where that. I mean, they might not have been. It was in the trillions, right? Now we're down to the hundreds of billions. So I mean, but it's not dead in the water. Is what I'm saying.
Sure, I'm trying to figure out why we needed
I
one.
did see the Japanese prime minister said, "No, the fuck, we're not." I did see that. But
Sure,
it's
I'm trying to
not
figure
dead
out
in the
why
water.
we needed one. Our relations and our import and export with Japan was already excellent. We were already doing just fine with Japan. Our trade going in and out with Japan was excellent. We were both supporting each other's economies. Everything was fine with Japan. We didn't have any problems with Japan.
Yeah, so
We
there's
generally
nothing-
had
you
like
know,
we
just
had
because everything's
almost
fine,
we
you
had
need to do
almost
business
free
with your friends,
trade
and this is what
with
they
Japan.
did.
So why did I need Trump to come in? Okay, put on all these tariffs, create all this tension to have a trade deal when we were already under a very good trade deal with Japan that was just made in 2019 that he made.
And in Japan, the tariffs are a totally different thing. I mean, the tariff, and not all the tariffs. I don't agree with all of them. I agree with a lot of them, especially with China. If you just look at the rate of what we're getting, our trade deficit we had with China, the tariffs solved that. They said, and I haven't looked at, I don't think they're paying down the national debt with it, but they're saying we're making a ton of money on the tariffs, which I don't see how we're not.
I see how we're not, because you can't make money off of something if you're the one paying it.
Well, I'm not saying every tariff was good.
No, what
But there
I'm
was a
saying
bunch
is
that
that
were.
tariffs are a tax on American importers, so therefore it can't make money off of America.
Not always. The
Yes,
tariff is more
always.
like- it's more like
That is literally the definition of a tariff is a tax on imports on importers.
foreign goods. But okay.
No,
but
yeah.
We
On importers.
Americans paid not everyday Americans, but Americans paid those tariffs anyway when they went abroad.
Sir, what I'm saying is you're not getting money into the US if the US is the one paying it. If I transfer $10 from one of my bank accounts to another, it doesn't mean that I made $10.
That American company is going to charge more on the other end as well. So you're I'll admit you're half right here, but they're also charging money on the other end when they go to the other country.
What do you mean that they're charging money on the
Before-
other end when
before
they
they
go
had
to
to
the
do
other
that,
countries? What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense.
All right, so China has a shitload of tariffs on us on a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, they've had it forever. A lot of the tariffs that are coming in are they're leveling the playing field. They really are.
Tariffs aren't
So
coming
like-
in,
so for
sir.
beef,
They're not
if you
coming
think about-
in. It's American money paid by Americans to the American government. It's not China is paying $0 in tariffs to us.
Chinese companies are paying us.
Chinese companies are not paying us a goddamn thing.
Chinese companies are shipping their products here by themselves, which they don't always just send it to the middlemen. A lot of the times they import on their own and then sell it to the middleman. So a Chinese company coming in with foreign goods has to pay that tariff.
Sir, Chinese companies aren't coming with foreign goods. Walmart, Amazon, Target, they're the importers. What do you think? China just goes in and imports the stuff just to what? Sit it in a warehouse and just hope somebody buys it later? What are you talking about, dude? That's not how that happens.
Contract with Amazon, but Amazon does not, for the main part. I mean, they probably handle some of their own shipping, but Amazon doesn't have a shitload of ships to send it across this ocean.
No, because
They
it doesn't
hire
get taxed on the ship, sir. It gets taxed when we take it off.
When the ship pulls up, and half the time, and whoever owns the ship pays the tax.
That is
Most
not
of the
in
time,
any way, shape, or form true.
It is.
That is not in
Yes,
that
it
is not
is.
in any reality true.
Yes, it is.
It is
now,
not.
They might pass the cost down to the company that's purchasing it.
No,
Okay.
they do not. That is not how any of this works. That is not even close to how this works. Okay? If I am a business owner in the United States and I need a product from China, then I request the product from a Chinese company. That Chinese company ships it over to me. When I receive that foreign good, I pay the tariff. Okay? That's how it works from the
That's not how it
smallest.
works.
That is exactly how it works. Unequivocally. This is not, we are not having a debate on exactly how a tariff works. How do you tax another country's businesses? How would you enforce that, sir? Does China now? Hold on. China now has tariffs on the United States too, right? China has reciprocal tariffs on the United
They've
States.
had tariffs forever.
No, they still do. So that means as a business owner in the United States, right? China can come over here and ask for money for me that I have to pay to the Chinese government
No.
if I export.
No.
Of course. They must be able to, because that's exactly what you're saying is happening the other way around. So China must be able to go to American citizens and American businesses that are exporting things to China, right? Like soybean farmers in Nebraska and all across the Midwest. These soybean farmers, apparently China is calling them and say, hey, you have to pay us a tax, okay, because we have tariffs on soybeans in the United States.
So, not exactly. Okay, so like the soybean farmer or a cattle rancher who's selling his cows, the cattle is a big thing for him, so that they tariff. They load that up on a ship. They're paying. They just sold it. The farmer sold it to somebody else. That person's going to go sell it in China. That person takes it to China, and China taxes him. It's the same thing the other way around. Okay, so a Chinese product, they sell it to somebody. They take it to the U.S. The U.S. taxes him when it arrives here.
This essentially what you're saying. Okay, essentially what you're saying.
That's as simple as it can get.
It's as simple minded as you can get. Pretty much what you're saying is, okay, if I'm shipping something through FedEx, okay, then FedEx pays the shipping costs.
No.
Who pays the shipping cost on a good? Do I pay it, or does FedEx pay it?
A shipping cost is different than a tariff.
No, but you're saying the person shipping it is the one paying the tariff. That's exactly what you're saying. You're saying it's not the end user that's receiving the item. It's not the person that's shipping the item. You're saying that FedEx does it. They're the ones that have to worry about the tariff. And that's not how shit works, okay? When soybean farmers ship their soybeans to China, okay, the end user in China is the one that pays the tax. Okay, that's why that end user stops getting his soybeans from the United States and starts getting his soybeans from places like, in South America. All right, because that soybean importer doesn't want to pay those tax anymore. The person that owns the ship doesn't pay the tariff. Okay, the person that receives the good. The person that receives the good in the country with the tariff is the one that pays the tariff. Point blank. Okay? No Chinese companies are paying the tariff. It is 100% Americans that are paying the tariff because the United States doesn't have the ability, okay, to tariff other countries and other businesses and other businessmen in other countries. Okay,
So
that's not how this works.
I'll admit you're half right here.
No, I'm not half right. I'm 100% right, and I'm tired of this. Is a ridiculous argument. This is a ridiculous argument, and I'm tired of having it. I am not half right, sir. I am 100,000% right. I'll use a Donald Trump term. I am 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,500, 1,600% right. Okay, this is how this works. Okay, the importer pays the tariff, and then the importer generally, if their margins can't handle it, pass that cost onto the consumer. But regardless, when you have a tariff, the money going to the U.S. government is American money. When people brag about Americans about tariff income, what they are bragging about is Donald Trump charging us higher taxes.
I'm pretty sure that the Chinese company that owns the product to get it in here has to pay it to get it in the U.S.
Sure. And how does the United States, and how does the United States enforce taxing a Chinese company?
To unload your ship, you have to pay every tariff that is due.
Oh, gotcha. So you think that there's some poor ship, some ship captain that's sitting out there just handing $100 bills to some IRS agent at the port.
No,
You think that's how this works?
It's more complicated than that. But you pay. Now, you might be right that it might be American money if you would argue that the costs get passed to the American consumer, which you would be right. But it also promotes buying American goods.
Sure.
And that happens.
No one at the ship captain is not sitting there handing $100 bills to an IRS agent at the fucking port. Okay, that's not how this works. Okay, the ship drops it off. They say, "Hey, I'm shipping this stuff from China." Oh, which company is receiving it? That company is receiving it. That company that is receiving it pays the tariff. Not the person shipping it, not the person making it, not the Chinese company, not the boat captain, not any random ship worker, no one at the fucking docks. Okay. The company receiving the good is the one who pays the tariff. Period.
I don't see how we're going to win here at all.
Sir, I don't know how America is ever going to win if I
say.
can't explain to you like the most general term of how a tariff works. Okay, if you can't understand the literal general, like we're not even going into complications of tariffs and how tariffs affect the global economy and how they affect our economy within the United States and how they affect, like Chinese economies and how we affect shipping and all this. We're not even going into anything complicated. We are going to the dead most definitive term of what a tariff is. Like literally you could Google this. You could find like an Econ 101 book and look up what a tariff is, and it would explain that you are unequivocally wrong on every single part of this that you are trying to explain. If you think a singular Chinese company is paying a singular red cent to the American government because of tariffs, that is not how tariffs work. Period.
Going off your logic,
it's not my logic. It's the definition of a tariff. This is not logic. I am not using any logic in here, sir. Sir, I am not using any logic in here. This is not deductive reasoning, okay? This is not taking any brain power from me, except for the brain power needing to try to understand how you are not understanding the simplest of this concept, okay? This pencil is purple. We don't need logic for this. This pencil is purple. It just is what it is, okay? And a tariff is an import tax.
Why do countries, when we pass tariffs on them, why do they get pissed the fuck off and they do reciprocal tariffs on us?
Because American companies buy less of that product because they are having to pay more for it.
So, if that's how it worked, why the fuck does them increasing the tariff do anything then?
I just said why.
All right. So, I'll drop the whole fucking definition thing. But if you raise the cost of a Chinese product to where it makes more economical sense for you to buy American and support an American job, wouldn't you say that was a good thing?
If that's how it worked, then that would be great, but it's not how it works.
But if it's raising the cost, because again, the cost of that is going to get passed on to the American consumer.
Correct.
Forget the whole where the tariff money is coming from. So that makes like your Chinese speaker is now going to get closer in cost to an American speaker, and if people voted with their wallet, you're going to end up with more money going into the American economy.
Sure. And if
Rather-
Donald Trump tariffed speakers, that might be okay. But let's use your
I don't
let's
know all
let's
these
let's
tariffs. I'll
use
that as an example.
sure, let's use it as an example. Okay? Let's use it as an example. All right? First of all, we have to figure out whether the product that you're talking about, in this case speakers, if the United States even has the capacity to make the level of speakers to make up for the Chinese product that they are no longer getting, right? So that's the first thing that we have to do. All right.
So if we change our example to cattle, it'll work.
No, I like speakers. Speakers is perfect.
All right,
Okay.
go-
Speakers is perfect because it's a consumer good, right? That's a perfect example. Okay. So first of all, we have to know what what both products cost, right? So say I'm getting a Samsung speaker, like living room speaker or whatever from China, right? And that Samsung speaker costs $50 normally. And the same American-made speaker, which I can't even name an American-made speaker company because I don't know who is JBL American? Is JBL American?
If we do or not.
Okay. I don't even know of an American speaker company. Okay, I don't even know. But we have to see how much if those speakers, so say there's a $50 speaker at Samsung and the Kenwood, there we go. Kenwood's an American company. The Kenwood speaker already costs $200. Well, if we put $100 tariff on that Samsung speaker, it now makes that Samsung speaker $100. The Kenwood speaker is now $200. Now I'm just paying more for the exact same product, right? And I'm still going to buy the Samsung speaker because it's still cheaper. Okay? So it doesn't change anything. Second
I
of
don't
all,
think everybody would.
well,
I think there's a
it
lot
doesn't
of
matter whether
people-
everyone would or not, but we're not even there yet. Second of all, how many speakers does Kenwood make? Does Kenwood make enough speakers, okay, in order to meet the demand that is already coming from that other country, right? Because Samsung's products all stop. So do they even have the capacity? Because if they don't have the capacity, then now their speakers, due to a supply and demand issue, are now worth more. So therefore, the price of that Kenwood speaker significantly goes up because the market, the market sets the price of any object. So therefore, that tariff on that product doesn't even make sense anymore because now that Kenwood speaker is now more expensive. All right.
So
Third of all,
in an
do we
ideal
have the
world-
resources in order to
ideal
do it?
world, though, in an ideal world where,
So this
the
isn't an
system
ideal
works
world.
as it's intended to.
This isn't an ideal world. This is the
it's
real
all
world.
hypothetical.
This isn't the real.
free
Sir,
market, though,
this
the free market would incentivize Kenwood speakers to drop it because there'd be other American companies that could now compete.
are there?
Because if there's not right now, but if you raise,
So if there's not, then what
simple
do I?
economics,
Sir,
if you
I'm trying to
raise-
buy a speaker. Like, I don't know what you're talking. I can't wait for an entire new company to just start up, hopefully someplace, okay, and hopefully somehow
speakers-
maybe able to make
everybody's
speakers
always
and get
gonna
them to
buy
me.
Speakers, though.
Huh?
So you might get the shaft, but other consumers won't because there's always
Yes, they will.
people looking to buy.
Yes, they
a
will because
speaker.
now they're paying more for the speaker.
There's always people looking to buy a speaker. Okay, and I'm arguing that if you buy an American product, it offsets the cost raise.
And I'm saying that it doesn't. That first of all, I'm saying there's not enough companies in the United States to make the products that we're getting from places like China. Kenwood's not American. That's funny. First of all, there's not enough product makers. First of all, sir, there's not enough product makers in the United States to make up for all of those products. We don't have the manufacturing. We don't have the company. We don't have the space. We don't have the workforce. We don't have any of those things to make up, okay, for those products that are coming from China. So
know, our
therefore,
industry is like 80 years old.
so therefore, sir, we're still just going to be paying the higher price. We're just going to be paying the higher price with the tariff because we don't have another choice but to buy that Chinese product. Okay. Second of all, even if you're saying that you want to move those companies there, still not going to happen because, again, between labor laws and all those other things, they're more likely to just move their company to someplace with a smaller tariff, right? Say move it from China to maybe someplace in like Southeast Asia, right? Where the tariff is then lower, okay, because they didn't have such significantly high tariffs as China. And then we're still just getting those imports from someplace else. It doesn't change. It's just not from China, right? Which I think kind of ruins the fucking point.
I mean,
Kenwood is actually
if you're
Japanese.
looking
That's
for a
fucking
short-term
hilarious.
solution,
Who
but if you're
is there an
arguing-
American-made speaker like that anybody can think of?
I don't know.
I love how he picked Bose. That's a good one. I said JBL first. I asked about JBL. No one gave me an answer on
I thought
JBL.
JBL was owned by Nokia, but I'm not a speaker guy, so.
Owned by. Let's see. I'm curious. Pioneer? Oh, Pioneer might be a good one.
I've never heard of a Pioneer speaker.
Nope. JBL is a brand under Harman International, which itself is wholly owned. Is a wholly owned subsidiary of Samsung Electronics. So literally, JBL is Samsung.
Oh, okay.
Pioneer is owned by Japan.
That's kind of funny that we don't have an American speaker company.
Someone said Beats by Dre, and I think Beats is owned by. Is Beats owned by Apple now? I think Beats might be owned by Apple. We got one. Wait, we got one. Bose is an American company. Bose is an American company. All right, we got one. Bose is a privately held company whose majority non-voting shares were donated by founder Amar Bose to the Massachusetts. So it's actually owned. I did not know that. Bose is actually owned by MIT. This is actually really interesting stuff. Apparently, Bose, Amon Bose, donated his non-voting shares to MIT, and which receives dividends to fund research, keeping Bose independent from public shareholders. I did not know that. I'm actually kind of sad that I didn't because I had a Bose speaker. I went to a JBL one when I bought my last one, but that actually kind of makes me like Bose a little bit more, to be completely honest with you. That makes me kind of happy. Keep saying clip shush. I've never even heard of that. Okay. Guys, you come here for the politics, you learn about speakers. All right? You learn about speakers. Where are they manufactured? I'm not going to look that up. We have a good story. We're leaving it there. All right. Klipsch. Okay, cool. Anyway, sorry, where were we? I got into speaker nerd talk.
No, you just taught me something. I did not know that we even had an American speaker company.
Yep, it's Bose.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. I guess I did see a startup that they make speakers that look like Claymore mines, and that's pretty cool. But
someone said Polk Audio is also American. Bose is made in Mexico. Someone said Bose is made in Mexico. Oh gosh, I'm leaving it there anyway. I don't care. Okay, I like them more. All right, I like them more. Anyways, caller, I'm gonna move on to the next person. I hope you have a good one. All right.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man. Bye. Are there American TVs? We're about to go down a whole rabbit hole of what's American. It's crazy all the stuff that you think is American and it's not. Yo, please make sure you hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications so you know when I'm on and how we keep this thing going. I appreciate you. Love to hack. Thank you so much for the 5 pounds over there. So how do you stay so chill when talking to these Muppets? It is practice. It is a lot of practice. Honestly. Truthfully. That's all it is. Okay. It's not. This is learned behavior. Okay. It's truly learned behavior. That's all I can say. You do this for long enough and just it just kind of, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it's apple juice. That's how I get through it sometimes. Okay, right now it's just Gatorade. Oh, my Gatorade's actually out. Actually, I got a little more in here. But thank you so much. I appreciate that, Hack. Chuckles, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Chuckles also said, how much do I have to pay to debate this fellow? You don't have to pay anything to debate me. You just have to call in or join the guest request box when I open up the phone lines. That's it. You also again asked how much to. This isn't like a pay to debate system. This is just. I'll talk to pretty much anyone. What's in the Gatorade? It's just Gatorade, guys. It's just Gatorade. Okay, it's just Gatorade. I should be switching to something else. Freaking, it's Friday. It's pretty much Friday night right now, right? So I probably could. Bake also said, this is exactly why he loves the uneducated. Sorry, I had missed that one. I apologize for that. Thank you so much. Also, Sandust, thank you so much for the jewels. I really appreciate that. Vengeful Emo, thank you so much for the laughing disco. Bake, you had the jewels over there too. I appreciate that. Oh, Azul, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I missed that one too. Said, Polly, you are my hero. I'm not going to say that last part. All right. Bolt up, baby. Go Chargers. Let's go. Thank you, Azul. And James over on Cash App, thank you so much for the $5. Said for love the show, you're the best. Thank you so much, James. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. We're gonna move on to the next caller. I got a little bit more time before Ari gets home, and then we have to go do stuff. So I'm gonna open up these phone lines, get this thing going. I might give myself a little apple juice too, just for funsies. But if y'all would like support, as you guys see, I have super chats, super stickers, all the gifting stuff over there. I have my little live gift goal. I have the pay links in the bio. All Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. They're all at Polypolitics. So if you would like to support the live, that is a great way to do it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. But really, just hit follow. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
I'm 28, and I'm Chuckles, the guy that was donating.
Hi, Chuckles. Yeah, you
How
don't
you doing?
you don't have to pay. You can just call, man. I appreciate the super chats though. Very nice of you.
Oh no, it's cool. I'm sure it's stressful having to do all these debates. I know not everyone is good faith and courteous.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good, man. I do appreciate that. So, anyways, how old? You already said how old are you? So, do you still support Trump?
I do still support Trump.
Awesome. Why is that?
I'm very critical of him, though. I'm very critical of him on many things, but I do think overall he was the right pick for multiple factors. But we can go however you want to go.
Sure. Why don't we start with your first factor and we'll move from there?
So my first factor is actually growing up. Like I said, I'm only 28. So I grew up under the Obama administration mostly, and the Overton window pushed pretty far if you really think about it. And what I mean by that is if you look it up, Obama's original stance on like gay marriage was between man and woman only. And now I don't think that's even up to debate. I don't hear anybody on the Republican side. There's a few, of course, headbangers, but mostly people accept that that's just another, sexuality. I think if you look overall, the Overton window has shifted very far. I think it was getting too far. And what I mean by that is even people in the Democratic Party itself were kind of calling foul on certain things. I don't want to get into any hot topics and like hurt anybody's feelings, of course, but I do think the Overton window moved too far. So socially was a big part for me. And the second biggest motivating factor, which I know you're against, I joined as you were doing the speaker debate. By the way, Clips is a high quality home speaker. That's probably why you didn't hear about it. They're not super popular. But anyways, I do think that we need to bring manufacturing back to America. And I would be open to hearing other ideas on how to do it. But unfortunately, I'm a little bit left on some of the more, when it comes to like corporatism and stuff. I'm not a socialist, of course, but I do think that we need to put up some boundaries, because if you look back before when we were doing much better on single family household incomes, what was going on is employers were making less money and they're having to employ their employees more. Ever since we shipped off most of these jobs in manufacturing, they've done nothing but make more and more money. And we need to bring them back here to where people, if they try to charge exorbitant amounts, what's going to happen is people will not buy it and they will go to the cheaper products, and they will still want a piece of the market share. Business isn't going to just shut itself out of 100% of all of its possible what would you call profits, but are going to have to take some profit loss. And I do understand there is going to be a hard transitional period where certain products are going to be, like you said, speakers are going to be more expensive to encourage them here. Do you think that tariffs won't work at all?
That was a whole bunch of stuff, and I'll be honest, I wasn't taking notes on what you're talking about. So you started with the Overton window. You ended up with you blaming
Tariffs. Tariffs.
Hold on, sir. You ended with you blaming companies shipping products overseas for the reason that
Yeah.
single family households don't exist, which is not true. Businesses are true, but besides that. But I want to start with like your first topic. You talked about the Overton window shifting too far left. In which way did the Overton window shift too far left?
Sure. So there were certain conversations taking place, and I know this isn't necessarily like the majority, but like one of the big ones is, what was it? Minor attracted peoples instead of pedophile. That was up for talk. Tampons in men's bathrooms. We have transgender females competing in biological female sports. Then we also have, in my opinion, we have 38 trillion in debt. And because we keep wanting to move more towards a socialist, which I consider leftist ideology, we have continued to have these deficits, and we're going to continue to have them, and we're not doing anything to recourse them, which is one of the things I'm critical of Trump on, is that he isn't conservative enough for me when it comes to financials. He's willing to put out way too much money, and I don't like that personally.
So okay,
but I do
that's
think that-
fine. That's fine. So you think the existence of trans people is moving the Overton window? Because I'm going to let you know real quick.
No.
Well,
No,
that's
of
what it
course not.
sounds like to me, sir. Is that the
I
existence
said
of trans
I specifically
people?
said in sports, right?
Oh, so you
Didn't I say
think
in sports?
so you think that people that 12 NCAA athletes playing in sports is a shift in the Overton window? Because it doesn't.
Well,
If that's
do
what
you
you
think-
if that's what you believe, if you believe that a few trans people playing in sports and tampons in freaking boys' bathrooms is a shift in the Overton window, then I don't think that you understand what the Overton window is.
Well, of course, I'm not trying to disrespect you, sir.
I'm not trying to
I'm
disrespect
all-
you either, but if that I asked you how we shifted in the Overton window, and you made
Right, okay, so
your
maybe-
reasoning was because of trans people, which I would like for you to show me like any.
No. What was my first position though? Do you remember it? What was my first point to prove the Overton?
I don't
window
know,
was
sir,
shifted?
because like every time you kind of do like go on for a while, so like I'm just trying
I'll keep
to.
it simple. I apologize, sir. My apologies. Hope you can forgive me for that.
So you
my
said
first example would be
Go ahead.
Obama's original position on gay marriage.
yeah, I
was
remember
that
that
it was
part.
between
I
a man-
remember
Okay.
that part. But
So,
Obama
Do you
changing
still think that
Oh.
that's not a
Obama changing his mind on gay marriage didn't shift the Overton window.
wait? No. That's not. I think you're kind of straw manning my argument here. I'm saying the fact that almost nobody in today's world would even hear that argument that gay marriage is not acceptable. I think most people, especially like I said, I'm 28. Most people I know would never think to have that debate. And even someone as strong on the Democratic side, like Obama, had a very different opinion. Again, we could even look at Hillary Clinton, her original views on like border. So they've shifted to where you can go and find clips of what they're saying just in 2008 or late 90s. That sounds much like what Trump is saying now. Do you still think that doesn't prove the Overton window has shifted?
No, the immigration
When it comes to
conversation
points-
doesn't change the Overton window whatsoever, because the only difference in what the immigration policies in between what Trump is doing right now, there's only and what was talked about like as Obama and Hillary, there's only two real differences. One is Donald Trump is doing it inhumanely, and two, that Donald Trump has convinced people that the left doesn't still believe that. That's not a shift in the
doesn't still
Overton
believe
window.
what? Can you clarify?
That's a lack of understanding by people that don't understand politics.
So you don't think people openly changing opinions doesn't prove Overton?
What
window
opinion did they
is
change?
mass opinion changing?
What is different
Well,
between what
yeah,
Hillary
sure.
what is different between
Sure,
what
sure,
Hillary
like-
Clinton said about immigration and what Democrats believe about immigration right now?
Well, for one, I go off of actions, not words only.
Sure.
Right. So when Democrats held office during the Biden administration, do you disagree that the border was very underkept?
The border we needed policy change in order to change the border, and the Biden administration and the Biden administration attempted to change that border policy, and that border policy that the Biden administration attempted to get passed that was stopped by Trump is actually very similar to immigration policy under Hillary Clinton. So what Hillary Clinton proposed that she was going to do and what Biden tried to do are the exact same thing. Well, not the exact same thing, but very, very similar. They didn't change anything in there. The Republicans were the Republicans were the ones that blocked it.
Okay, right. So this is where you just said a false statement. So what you just said was we needed policy to fix the border, but that's just not true.
No, sir. The border's not fixed, but don't try to straw man this argument to get away. You're saying that difference in policy mindsets changed the Overton window. I am showing you that the difference in mindsets in between Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden hadn't changed. That is a requirement. What Hillary Clinton proposed and what Joe Biden proposed did not change. So therefore, that is not a shift in the Overton window.
So hold on now. I think you're kind of stepping over yourself here because you said you needed policy to change it. You needed policy to change
Nope.
it.
You're trying to straw man that into whether the policy was needed to fix the problem. I am talking about the Overton window, which has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Whether or not the policy was needed does not change anything with the Overton window.
Okay, sorry. We'll stick to Overton window then. I apologize. Do you think in 2008 or 2012, conversations about transgender women in women's sports could even be possible? Do you think tampons and women and men's bathrooms could even be talked about? Do you think that we could have a conversation? There was a debate back then about marriage, gay marriage. Do you think that debate could live up today? I think not, and it's been proven just recently in the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Do you think that socially? Sorry, sir. Go on.
Oh no! Do you think
me,
that?
But I'm not interrupting you.
Oh, I thought you were done. Sorry, you tend to go on these very, very long diatribes.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, and so I'm trying to keep the conversation going. Okay, but I'll tell you right now. Okay, do I think tampons in 20 years ago would be a conversation? No, I think that as we move along with our society, people understand other people more. Not to mention the fact. Hold on, sir. Not to mention the fact that the real reason why it's so beneficial to have tampons in these bathrooms is because we have so many school shootings and they work really, really well at freaking soaking up blood, which is really helpful for when your kids are dying. Okay, which is actually a completely other different side effect we don't talk about because school shootings are up at a super high rate in comparison to 20 years ago. So the tampon thing is just something that you guys are super worried about. Second of all, I don't really give a shit what anybody does with a tampon. Okay, that doesn't change my view socially whatsoever. There might have been bad, like literally until you guys all brought this up. I'm sure that I've been in like hundreds of bathrooms with tampons in them and I didn't even notice. And the reason why I didn't notice that there was tampons in bathrooms is because I don't use tampons. And so therefore it doesn't affect me whatsoever for a tampon to be in a bathroom that I'm in because I don't use them. Okay. So that's not a shift in sociology. That's not a shift in culture. Okay. That is just a shift in the understanding of people. Okay. Second of all,
but you admitted that it did.
What?
You said that the debate couldn't happen back then and that you agreed that back then that debate couldn't happen.
I think it totally could have happened. It just didn't happen. I think the conversation totally could have happened. It just didn't happen.
Well, then why is it that even on a leftist show like Bill Maher, you had someone like Chris Prager going on and saying that men could menstruate and getting laughed at over almost 10 years ago. And today, if you don't agree with that in certain circles, you'll be pushed out.
Yeah. What circles is that?
I really. What circles? More progressive. More
really? I'm in progressive circles. I've never seen anyone pushed out for that.
Oh, well, I would completely disagree with you. I've been in multiple communities, but I try to be in both sides of the communities.
You don't do a very good job.
Community. Well, how could you? I feel like you're like angry at me or something.
I'm not angry at all, sir. You're just misrepresenting you're misrepresenting the argument for your own benefit, and I don't like that. Okay? What I'm saying is, sir, sir, people on the right do this constantly. Okay. People on the right consistently tell me that people on the left won't accept you for X, Y, and Z, and it's not true. Okay.
How can you say it's not true?
I get told.
You didn't ask me for any fact. You didn't ask me for a single fact.
Because you're giving me an anecdotal story. Why would I ask you about facts?
Hold on. Because you said I did a bad job. If you're going to if you're going to distinguish your judgment on what I've done, wouldn't you want to at least know what I've done?
No.
What groups did I join? What did I say?
No.
I mean, to make this, so your progressive groups are the same as every progressive group, and none of them could possibly be different. Is that your position?
Nope.
So then how can you tell me I did a bad job based off of just a few words?
Because
which
I
maybe
think that I am
people
probably
tell you
keyed into
the
a
same
lot
thing.
more progressive circles than you are. Do you disagree?
A lot more, but it's not the same as all, correct? Which
Correct.
means that
So
there's
you're
still
saying that
space
you've,
that I joined some,
yeah.
which I just listened to you.
Sir, the
And
reason why I don't
when the
believe you is because
CDC
you're not a progressive. So I'm pretty sure that most likely you were probably pushed out of that progressive group because you're not a progressive and had nothing to do with whether or not men or women can menstruate. Okay? Because you're obviously
you're
not a
not going
progressive
through my
whatsoever.
argument,
So
though.
I
You're
don't know
kind of
what
just
you would be
attacking
doing
me.
in a progressive group since you're
Because I like
obviously
to think,
not a
because we're all
progressive.
fellow Americans. This is our country. We're all
Okay?
fellow Americans. And if I can find 3 issues that we agree on, then that's something we can work on together. And then if we can grow some respect by working on these issues together, then we can work on bigger issues.
Yeah.
And we can
Okay.
find a mutual
So
respect to understand one another.
let's get this down to brass tacks, okay? The Overton window has pushed right. The Overton window has been pushing right for a very, very long time. And I mean decades, probably about as long as you've been alive.
So what are your examples
Okay.
of that? Can you
Yeah,
prove that?
I can easily do that. And I can take it, you know, very, very far back as far as you know, if you want. But the key thing is to just look at the progressive of Overton windows of other countries and other regions in the in the world.
I don't care
And
about them. I care about
I don't
America.
care what you care about. I'm talking about the Overton window, and it has no effect on what you care about.
Are you talking about a global Overton
No,
window, or
I'm
are you talking
talking.
about
I'm
American
talking.
Overton
Period. And
window?
you can be quiet. Maybe you'd understand it if I got finished with my sentence.
Well, you interrupt me constantly. So
All
I
right.
just
Well, then
thought
why
it was
don't
an
you go
open
ahead and
debate
continue,
call
and then I'll
thing.
finish my sentence whenever you're ready.
Okay, absolutely. My point is just being, if you are trying to claim that the Overton window hasn't pushed left at all, I think that you're going against the facts of culture. Where I grew up in, the world I grew up in, I should say, under Obama, is a very progressive movement. And my whole life, I was taught anti-racism, which is a great thing. I was taught anti-sexism, a great thing. And I was taught all, which were very common in the early 2000s, both of those.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you still there? That's good.
Yeah, of course, sir.
All
I
right.
have respect
Awesome.
for you. I appreciate you taking my call.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I was saying about the Overton window is I was saying if you actually compare the Democratic Party to any other country, like any progressive or industrialized nation, you know, in this country right now, right, or in the world right now, right, the United States would actually be on the right side of their Overton window. The Democratic Party would be on their right side, right? And this is completely different from a lot of different times in our past, right? Where we actually were very progressive. If you actually want to talk about, you know, like when I know you had mentioned earlier about, you know, single family homes being able to, or single family incomes being able to provide for provide for their families off a singular income, maybe with 2 or 3 or 4, different dependents underneath that, right? Well, the reason that is because we had things like pensions, we had things that would like unionizing, which was very, very, very progressive policy
Which I
at the
agree with.
time, right? Yeah. So we've traditionally had, more progressive things, and actually, when we've had more progressive things within our country has been significantly more successful, right? And then we had this turnaround of those events, right? Well, we had Obama, who came around, who was slightly more progressive than we had, to a certain point, right? Changing his stance on legalized marriage, you mentioned that, but just more policy as far as building up our social safety nets and things like that. And those things actually did move the Overton window slightly, and I mean very slightly, to the left under Obama. Then Donald Trump came in, right? And then we had a huge shift, right? We went right back into trickle down economics, and we started to have this cultural, reckoning where, things like racism were a lot more prominent, right? The support for racist groups were a lot more prominent, right? And you saw this large right wing, conglomerate of people within the United States that pushed the whole thing to the right. Now, the Democrats could have fought that off by, fighting back with more things that are more progressive and so helping to move that Overton window to the left, but they didn't. Who did they put in as a president? They put in Biden. And Biden isn't even on the left. I mean, he's technically a Democrat, but he's not in any way a leftist, right? His entire policy agenda and how he had worked throughout his entire time in Congress was he was going to be bipartisan. He was good at getting both sides together and bringing in groups and stuff like that. So Biden didn't pass any policy or anything that really pushed the Overton window anywhere to the left. And so we look at that when Donald Trump went to go run for office in his term, right? Kamala Harris didn't at any point in time run a singular ad or have a singular talking point, okay, that talked about transgender people. All right?
This is true.
Now,
This is true.
that would have been something that would have been, as you said, like if they were like, yeah, we need to run to get, transgender people more this, more that, right? Then I would agree
Right.
that would be part of the Overton window kind of shifting to the left, that the left of this country would be going more left. She never mentioned that. However,
Yes,
Donald Trump's most expensive commercial and expensive ad that he ran during his presidency was on transgender people and stopping them. Okay. So the policy was not, we need to get more rights for transgender people, which would have been would have shifted left. It was, we have to stop transgender people, which is pushing the Overton window to the right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just equally on that, you talked about tampons and stuff like that, right? Was there any
Yes, sir.
policy in any way, shape, and form that the Democrats, especially on the federal government level, came in and were like, we need to get more tampons in more boys' restrooms? No. The left didn't do that. The left was running a vice president who was a congressional sharpshooter, right, from a Midwest state. But Donald Trump, okay, what called him Tampon Tim. He pushed, we have to stop this leftist, this leftist horrors that are happening, right, that aren't happening, right? He's making these things. He's making these situations seem like they are inherently, democratic policies, that they are inherently on the left. They're these things that are trying to destroy the culture, that are trying to destroy America. Donald Trump and the right have made it seem like all of these things are a huge cultural issue. Okay. Therefore, making them a cultural issue by saying that we have to stop them. I'll be honest with you. Before Donald Trump didn't run on it, I had never even seen a transgender person play sports outside of maybe one that popped up on TV. I had never seen it, and I'm progressive. I had never even seen it happen. If you had asked me, I would have been like, yeah, I assume they were, right? But I never.
respond?
Nope, I'm good. So I've never even seen that. I've personally never seen a tampon in a bathroom. I've never seen that. Not one time. Have you? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you
Yes,
have.
sir. I have.
I haven't. I've never even seen
Well,
a
my work
tampon.
demands it. My work requires it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. What I'm saying is it's not that the Overton window is moving to the left or was moving to the left, unless you want to talk about Obama, which I will say. There was a slight shift under the Obama, okay? But after that,
That is what I talked about. Yes, sir.
yeah, but you said there was a big shift. There wasn't. There was a very, very, very tiny shift. You want to be honest, Obama, when we actually voted for Obama on the left, I actually wanted a super progressive candidate, right? Well, that is not what we got with Obama, right? We got a pretty generally centrist candidate. All right. I wanted universal healthcare. He gave us the ACA, which is like universal healthcare, step 1 of 20 or something like that, right? We got a more centrist candidate, right? So that didn't push the Overton window to the left. Now, right? Like if we were to get the next candidate to be, I don't know, name someone super progressive for no reason, AOC, right? Somebody super democratic, like democratic socialist, ultra progressive, like all that sort of stuff, then yes, I would see us culturally shifting to the left. But I think that the whole idea that the right has been trying to do is to convince everyone that the Overton window has severely shifted to the left. and it hasn't. It's the idea that the left is going crazy, and we have to do something to stop the left from this shift, even though that shift never really happened. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I'll take you on step by step by what you said. So the first thing you brought up was the transgender commercial that Trump put out, which you said was his most expensive. It was also his most effective. I think the reason it was most effective is because whether or not it's buying into messaging, which I disagree with, of course, I do think it's real. When you look at all the medals that were lost, which I believe there's close to 1,000 medals that have been lost in the last 5 years to transgender athletes of a different sex.
Don't let me forget about that, but that's not true. But go ahead. Just don't let me forget that I can prove to you that's not true. But go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I can stop if you'd like, sir.
No, please continue. I'll pull it up to show how it's not true. That's fine.
Okay, yes, sir. But the reason I would say that it was most effective is because people genuinely believe that these things are affecting them, and they genuinely do think it's an issue that should be stopped. Now, next up, you brought up a healthcare system that is single payer. And I do think that is a good thing to work towards. I do think that's something that the left has that the right doesn't, and I think that they should have that. I do think that is something we need to work towards. I'm not necessarily a rightist. I do support Trump in this situation, but I'm not on the right necessarily because I disagree with him on a lot of different things, as I said. Now, when you continue to say that the Overton window hasn't shifted, well, it shifted right in this last election. I'm sure we've all seen the map of the counties, but over the last years, I'm talking my life, which would be, from what I can remember, 12 years old and up until now, most of it has been under Democratic control. And during that Democratic control, there's been a lot of positive things done. I agree with you on that. Now, what I would like to take you up on, which you mentioned a while ago, is actually the reason that we had it to where we could have single income families is because of progressive policies. It wasn't due to the fact that we manufactured. It wasn't due to the fact that we had a much stronger middle class. So I'm wondering, like, where do you pick that up? Like, I want to understand that logic because maybe you're right. I'm a young guy. I definitely don't get to look into this as much as you. I was just wondering, like, can you explain that to me? Why the progressive policies is the reason we had such a better economy?
Yeah, sure. You can look at anything from I like to aim at the corporate tax rate, which is a great example. If you actually look at the corporate tax rate going from like the 40s all the way like up into like the 70s and even a little bit further into the 80s a little bit, we had corporate tax rates as high as 90%. Right. We had we had corporate tax rates that were through the roof. Right. And those corporate tax rates were used specifically to benefit. Right. Like those corporate tax hikes were used to boost the economy in the United States. And that economy caused for booms within the economy. We had some of the strongest economies. Right. But we also had like things like higher regulation. Right. We had stronger labor laws. Right. If you look at companies right now. Right. You have a bunch of companies that won't hire full-time workers because they don't have to give them benefits, any healthcare, stuff like that. So they save money from being able to do that, right? We hadn't had a raising of the federal minimum wage in, I don't even remember when the last one was. It was ridiculous. But I know 725 is not going to do it, right? So we had companies that used to give things like pensions, right? That used to, and now it's all 401ks and stuff like that. These are all things that were right-wing policies, right-wing deregulation that allowed for these companies to be able to do these things that they're doing now,
and so
which are affecting us negatively.
That dropped that corporate tax? Because I want to know. I've never heard that before.
Reagan was the biggest one on that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. So that's some more research.
Trump's done it twice.
Like I said, I'm good faith. Yes, and I don't believe in trickle down economics. Like I said, that's where I don't agree with the Republicans. I do think that I'm for cutting off foreign aid to all countries. I don't think we should be getting involved in any kind of wars. I just think as a human, if I'm 30, let's say I'm $1 million in debt, I'm not thinking like, how can I help other people? I'm thinking, what can I do to get more money for me to pay off this debt? And so I don't agree with, the money, even though it's a currency exchange. I don't agree with the money with like Argentina. I don't agree with the Ukraine war, how much money we spent out there. Definitely don't agree with funding Israel, who have, they actually have a surplus of money at the end of the year. So there's a lot of things I agree with the left on, like I said. But the reason I support Trump was because I do think that we need to bring manufacturing back to America. Do you think we don't need to bring manufacturing back to America?
I don't think it's possible to bring manufacturing back to America
Oh
in
wow.
the
You
way
don't
that
think it's
people think.
possible?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
I don't think it's
Can you?
possible. I don't think it makes sense. Okay, into the scale
Oh
that people are
really?
talking about. No, it doesn't.
Okay. So I'll remind you because you asked me to. You said you want to show me the proof that that's not this the statement I made, the claim I
Yeah.
made wasn't true.
So there's actually two different things I'm going to actually put up. So that source is coming from a report called "Violence Against Women and Girls in Sports," right? And if you were actually to pull up that source, and I can actually pull up, I think this is it right here. Nope, that's not it. I already had this up. I was actually trying to bring up the article. But anyways, that was a UN
Well, I
study
can
that
take
was
you at your
literally
word. I
bought
feel like
and
you're a
paid. That
truthful
was
person.
that study was literally bought and paid for by an anti-trans group of people, right? With all bias all bias to completely try to support their argument. But actually, you have this sf.gov site, which is actually amazing, and I'll actually throw this up on the screen, right? And it's literally used. It says a resource to comment misinformation around trans women's participation in sports. And if you guys ever get the chance, it's actually in my subscriber spaces in my sources. Already
Yes,
threw it
sir.
in there.
I'll take a look at it.
But it actually goes through all of these trans women in sports
Okay.
and just shows how all of these big names and all these people that people claim they win like no medals. Either that or they weren't actually trans. It's
Okay.
actually
Now,
absolutely
but you do
crazy.
agree that it does happen, though. Do you agree with that at least?
Has a medal ever been won by a
No, not
trans
A.
person?
No, no,
Sure,
no. I'm
yeah.
saying I would say more than 100 medals. Would you agree there's more than 100
Doubtful.
medals? You doubt it?
Yeah.
Well, of course, I don't have the time to pull up the criteria, but I have seen a breakdown
Who?
with many of the more famous
Who?
cases. What was
The-
that, sir?
The,
Oh,
the
like
two,
I said, I
the
don't
two,
know it off the top of my
the
head, so
two
I'm not going to
biggest,
try to use it as a...
the
Sorry,
two
go on, sir.
biggest, the two biggest people that anybody ever talks about are Leah Thomas and Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines literally got all this recognition
It's insane.
because she tied for 5th.
Right. I understand. I don't really care about Riley Gaines. Like, I understand there's a lot of to do about it. What I think more of is like my wife, who was a competitive wrestler in high school. You know, she had to go against guys, and so she never won because there's just unfortunately not a lot of women in wrestling. And so she had to go against guys, and the guys beat her. And I think about if she was able to go against actual women, she would have got a medal. And so when I think about those kinds of things, and I think about other girls, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, now, like I said, I don't have the numbers, so I can't. I'll just have to accept what you said as fact. I don't think you're a liar. Now, what I would say though is that even a few cases, it wouldn't come from the right. I don't think you can find a single Republican a conservative spokesperson, a Republican elected official who's ever said, "Hey, we should have transgenders." Now, I don't think the whole left thinks this, but that is where the idea comes from. Can you agree to that at least?
Can you show me one politician or spokesperson that says we need transgender people in sports?
I'm sure if I Googled it, I could find people who defend it.
You know what?
I'm
You know
sure
what?
of it.
You know what? Generally, people on the left say.
Tell me, sir.
Yeah, the same thing I'm about to tell you. Why am I so worried about transgender people? Why?
Well, this-
why
okay,
is
so
the
this is
right?
a great question.
Why is the right trying so hard to make Americans worry about transgender people? That is
So I can
my
explain this.
question. Okay, because
Yes, I can explain it perfectly.
I will tell you, before Donald Trump started running that ad, I had
Right, you had no idea. You said.
zero
it.
conversations about transgender people. They were just allowed to go
Okay.
live their lives and do their things, right? And when it comes to the sports
Right.
argument, the sports argument is a joke. Okay? It's a complete joke. All right? People on the right don't care about women's sports. I know this, okay? Because if people on the right cared about women's sports, the WNBA would be succeeding, okay? Instead of losing $50 million a year. But nobody watches it, okay? Including women.
Right.
Nobody watches it, right? It's
Right.
just the
that's
fucking truth.
correct.
And I'll ask you right
Okay.
now, okay? Can you name me
Yes, sir.
3 WNBA teams?
Oh, I'm not a sports guy, sir. It's not that I love
That's
sports.
fine.
It's that I want to.
That's fine.
can I-
You don't care
I'd like
about
to
women's
explain the
sports.
position to you.
Okay. No,
No,
hold on,
that's-
sir. That's fine. I don't really want to hear the position because what I'm saying is this whole thing about sports is a joke. I don't want the government involved in sports, period. And I do mean that, period. Okay. Like I am a huge NFL fan. I haven't missed a Chargers game in I don't even know how fucking long. I've watched every single fucking one. I was literally flying last week. I paid for the internet on the flight to make sure I could stream the Chargers games. I don't miss Chargers games. Okay. And I don't want the government coming in telling me who can play or what the PED rules in there or what a catch is. I don't want the government being involved in telling sports, sports leagues who can play and who can't play, whether that's professional, whether that's NCAA, none of that. I don't want the government involved. Okay. That's what I do to not think about the government. Okay. Personally.
Okay.
By the way, thank you so much, Tam. I don't know how to pronounce that. Thank you so much for that subscription. I don't want to think about that type of stuff. Okay. And I don't want the government going in. What I do know is that sports care about parity. Okay. The reason why the NFL is king, okay, even though people try so hard to make college football like king, right? The reason why the NFL is king is because literally on any given day, any team can beat any team. Okay? Period. Okay? Any team can beat any team on any week. The closer the teams are, the better the freaking sport is to watch, the more fun it is to watch, the more people bet on it. All right? They want parity.
Right.
And if trans people were causing the parity to be lost, i.e., that they held this huge, biological advantage that was causing them to be superior, okay, in these sports where they were, doing all this damage to women, then the sports would have gotten rid of them on their own because it would have gotten rid of the parity, just like PEDs did, right? Like they got rid of freaking performance enhancing drugs because it stopped the parity. All right. It stopped people being even. So let sports do their sports thing. Okay. Women are going to get hurt in sports, just like men are going to get hurt in sports, no matter who's playing. And being trans doesn't increase that likelihood. And besides that, can we please just stop talking about trans people? Because these people are literally trying to live their entire life, just like the rest of us. I assume, okay, that especially with all the politics going on around it, it makes their life a lot harder. Okay. And I'm not about making anybody's life harder. All right. So can we please just leave these people alone to just do whatever trans people are doing? I don't know. I'm not trans, so I don't know what they're doing. I'm sure they're having a real good time. All right. And let them just be on their own without us bothering them so much.
I can happily go with that. That's it. That's what you would request. Absolutely, sir. This is your channel, your show. You asked me a question. You said, why does the right care? No, you said you can never understand why does the right care about these things. They don't care about women's sports. They don't watch women's sports. Is that what you said, sir?
I mean, in fairness, in the United States, generally nobody watches women's sports. I'm not trying that to be a dick.
Right.
I'm just based off the numbers, right? Like,
Okay, no, right. But I just want to make sure I had your position correct, so I'm not arguing against something that isn't your position.
I don't think that they do. I think that they have been taught. I think that the right has been taught to care about something that they don't care about.
Okay, so this is what I would say. So I used to be in that same ideology, which was live and let live. If it doesn't affect me, then I don't care. Now, I think that the problem with that is that, for one, we've lost a lot of social cohesion with each other because we've had that live and let live idea for men. And what I mean by that is sometimes we look the other way when we could actually give someone a guiding hand. For instance, like drug addiction. Many people look at drug addiction. They say, man, he's going through a really hard time right now, and they try to say, hey, make sure you're taking care of yourself. But they don't really step in to do the hard thing, which is say, hey, you need to cut this the hell out. You need to stop this right now. I love you and I care about you. And because of that, I need you to stop. Okay. And so my opinion is when you do the live and let live thing, what happens is these bad ideas and these bad things, no matter how well intentioned, they end up going bad because you've allowed it to get further and further and further. So sometimes, even if it doesn't directly affect you, right, you should still stand up for it. For instance, I don't agree and I wouldn't allow homophobia or racism in my circles and my friends or my groups. Now, I'm white and I'm straight, so none of those things would affect me. But I still don't think it's good. Even if you truly feel these things, you shouldn't espouse them, and you should find a way to understand where you're wrong. You see, and because I don't want to just let someone live with those ideas because I deem them to be bad, I'm going to go and have a little bit more of a conversation. And if that doesn't work, then I'm going to remove myself from that. When you let someone just do as they please, no matter what it is, as long as it doesn't affect somebody else, which of course that does affect somebody else.
Well, can we take a quick pause here? Okay. it's a ridiculous comparison for you to compare the drug epidemic in the United States and trans people, because drugs do affect us.
Not past the user though.
What's
if a
up?
heroin addict sits in if a heroin addict sits in his house smoking heroin all day, does that affect you?
No. And if a heroin addict sits in
Okay.
his house and does heroin all day, I'm probably not
Yeah.
going to make a complete a full ideology about it.
Well, it's an example, sir. Now the reason
what I'm
you
saying,
said- you said, let's stop.
what I'm saying is, if
You said,
heroin
let's stop
users
talking
are
about the
sitting,
transgender stuff, so I stopped.
if
I wasn't
heroin
talking about
heroin
them, I was
users are
talking
just
about
sitting
the
in their
ideology.
car injecting and not doing anything to anybody else, I'm probably not going to spend much time on this platform talking about it.
But I understand that, sir. It's not that is the direct correlation. It's that they're easily relatable and understandable topics. That's all it is. The overall ideology is that sometimes, even if it is something that the person wants to do, that even if it's unfortunately something they want to do, you have to step in and say, hey, you shouldn't do this. You can't do this. Okay? I'm not talking just about transgenders, and you asked me not to talk about them, so I stopped talking
Well,
about them.
you are.
asked, why
You're
do people
relating
care?
it. You are. You're just doing it without
No, I'm
doing
answering
it.
the question. Do you remember the question you asked me, sir? I'm
No,
only
but
answering the
I do
question
need
you
you
asked
to
me.
I do need you to get to the point of it quickly. Not trying to be rude, but I'm not going to be on very much longer, and so we got to get to it.
Well, my point of it is just that when you have people doing things you don't agree with, you should say something. And then my other 2 points, like I said, the reason I still support Trump was because I do believe the Overton window shifted very far left. And I think that before Trump got in the office, I should say. And then I think that do you think it's impossible to bring manufacturing in America? I think we're Americans. I think this is our country, and we can do anything we set our minds to. And I think if we want to bring manufacturing back and we want to become self-sufficient again, I think that is something we can do. And I don't think we should ever give up. I respect you. I appreciate you taking my call. We are fellow Americans. And the reason I joined progressive circles is because I agree with progressives on certain subjects, just not on all of them. Thank you for taking my call, sir. I hope you have a great day. Stay
All
safe
right.
and stay healthy.
Well, I'm going to respond to you with you gone. That's totally fine. But first of all, drug addiction does hurt people a lot. Okay. No, the only people that are being killed because they're trans are people that are being attacked because they're trans, because of ideology, like the ideology you spread. Okay. People are being hurt. People are being sexually abused because of it due to your ideology. So you're perpetuating that. Okay. Or second of all, people that aren't able to get the care that they have. And then a lot of times they end up hurting themselves over that. Okay. Drugs do kill people. All right. That's just a matter of fact. If that person sits in there and does heroin, they're eventually going to kill themselves with that heroin. That's just the way things are, right? And that affects them, that affects their family, that affects their friends. Okay. The only way that trans people just existing hurts anybody, hurts any of their family and friends or anything like that, is because their family, friends, and whoever else get their butts hurt about somebody just being who they are. Okay. So while you sit there and say if somebody was being homophobic around you, you would stop and say something, yet you perpetuate transphobia yourself, okay, by talking negatively about them, by using things like transgenderism, okay, which is making it sound like, a disease, which is not. You're the one that is spreading that ideology, okay, and people are being hurt because of it. All right, so if you really believe what you say you believe in, then maybe you should reconsider the way that you think about it. Just leave fucking trans people alone. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, it's just ridiculous. Why is the right just so fucking concerned with what's in somebody's fucking pants, dude? I know the stat said you guys aren't getting laid enough. All right? I was seeing the statistics. Super right conservative freaking MAGAs. Y'all aren't getting laid enough. All right. That's why you guys are all pent up with all that aggression. All right. Why don't you worry about what's in your own pants? Okay. Try to get that under control. Okay. Stop worrying about what's in everybody else's and get what's in your own pants under control. Just my suggestion. I don't know what to say. VJ, thank you so much for the $2. The one up, I appreciate that. I had Luis's up there too, 2-month member too. I saw that. That was really awesome. I appreciate that. Vengeful, thank you so much for the laughing disco. Lil said, thank you so much for the high five. Tobin with a $10 super chat said, if you think people fighting for their rights is disrespectful to you, you are the problem. I mean, can't really say it much better than that. W's in the chat for Tobin. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. And Taurus, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Said, didn't say anything. Just 5 gifted. Bro, Martin, Black, Miss, and Patsy all got those. That's really, really awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys. Guys, this was a little, like I said, impromptu live that we're doing on a Friday. I don't normally live on Fridays, but hey, I threw it out there for some little fun. So, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get off for the day. I will be back on tomorrow. Make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications if you haven't already. Join the Discord. I think that's all. Love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be on sometime tomorrow, I think. I don't know when I feel like it. All right, love you guys, all right? Bye. See you guys later.